ladies and gentlemen, you're watching, yes,
It is an absolutely gorgeous Sunday afternoon in Tampa, Florida. George M. Steinbrenner Field, a sellout crowd on hand for the beginning of the home spring training slate for the New York Yankees. Oh, and look who is in pinstripes for the first time. It is Juan Soto, acquired during the offseason, the right fielder in today's lineup, and probably on opening day as well. And then, of course, there is the captain making friends, signing autographs before today's game as the Yankees will begin their home spring slate. Well, optimism is high for the 2024 New York Yankees, and it is time for baseball. Welcome to Yankee Spring Training, presented by Montefiore Einstein. It's the Toronto Blue Jays against the New York Yankees in an exhibition game from Tampa. Anthony Rizzo. He is obviously in much better shape than he was in the second half of last year. He will be in the lineup. The Yankees expecting big things from him. And one of the new Yankees, Alex Verdugo. He's leading off at the top of the order as the Yankees introduce their entire starting lineup. And since it's the first home spring training game, they're in their full home white pinstripes in front of a huge crowd at Steinbrenner Field. And let's go down to the field. And Meredith Marakovits, beginning her 13th season with the Yes Network, is with the captain of the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge.
Thanks, Michael. Aaron, can you describe the desire in that clubhouse to get this franchise back to their winning ways after what transpired last season?
Yeah, I think we got good energy in this clubhouse right now. We're excited about the guys we got, you know, in trades signed. You know, you bring in a guy like Soto, Verdugo, Grisham, and you sign Marcus Stroman, who's going to bring his energy and, you know, be one of the best pitchers in the game. And it's, we're all excited. We're all excited. We're ready to get rolling.
You mentioned some of those guys. Aaron Boone going with the new look outfield today. Verdugo in left, you're in center, Soto in right. Those two bats in particular, what type of impact do you think they'll have on this offense?
It's going to be great. You know, we've been missing a couple good left-handed batters, you know, in the middle of our lineup. And those guys, you know, Verdugo at the top of the lineup, he brings contact, speed. You know, he can leave the park when he wants to. And then, you know, Soto, man, he can do everything. Anything you ask him, he's been so impressive so far in camp. And, you know, looking forward to more of that during the season.
Hey, it's about that time for you to lead your team out on the field for the first time in 2024. We'll let you do just that. Best of luck this year, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael, back over to you.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you to Aaron Judge. Michael Kay, along with my colleague Jack Curry, will take you through these 9 innings, with Meredith obviously doing interviews throughout the game. This is a very pumped-up Yankee team and organization, Jack. They're expecting good things to bounce back from an 82-80 season where they finished 4th and didn't make the playoffs.
Right, Michael. When you start spring training, there's always hope. There's always optimism. All 30 teams are speaking about optimism and hope, and I think the Yankees have a legitimate reason to feel optimistic, and some of it we've already covered. The headline, of course, is Juan Soto. What was the Yankees' Achilles heel last season? It was their offense. They're supposed to be the Bronx Bombers. When Judge injured his toe and went down in June, the offense became very sluggish, and the Yankees were bottom 10 in many offensive categories in the major leagues. You add Soto, perhaps the best hitter in the major leagues. You have elevated your offense. You're making everyone around you better. And in Soto and Judge hitting back-to-back, you have 2 of the best players in baseball who are going to torment opposing pitchers.
Now, we'll give you the entire Yankee lineup in the bottom half of the inning, but the first 3, Verdugo, Soto, and Judge, we find out that for the last couple of years, guys like Aaron Judge really were doing behind-the-scene bidding and trying to get Verdugo to the Yankees. They finally get their wish.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about Verdugo and his game. He will be playing in a walk year. He is a free agent in 2025, so you get a motivated player. You look at his career numbers across the board, Michael. He's a .281 hitter, .765 OPS, but he puts the ball in play, and he puts feisty at-bats against opposing pitchers. He's a very strong corner outfielder. I don't think you'll see him in center at all for the Yankees. But you mentioned that he's hitting leadoff. I do think DJ LeMahieu will be the leadoff hitter at the start of the season, and the Yankees hope he runs with that. But Verdugo is going to get some opportunities as well, and it's something he's done and done well throughout his career.
And one of the things the Yankee front office really wanted to do was balance this lineup. And you see the Yankees being let out on the field, and there's a lot of lefty, righty, right all the way through.
Yeah, you look at last year, and they didn't have that balance. Sometimes when Aaron Boone made out a lineup, he'd have 3 left-handed batters, and he had to spread them out. So you'd have someone like Jake Bauers or Willie Calhoun hitting cleanup. Though they are solid major league players, and it's very hard to become a major league player, those were not guys who you thought should be hitting cleanup for the Yankees. Now you look at this lineup: Soto from the left side, Verdugo from the left side, Rizzo from the left side, Grisham, a very gifted defensive player when he plays from the left side, Wells when he catches from the left side. But Michael, hone in on these 2 guys right here, as our crew smartly is, because Yankee fans are going to get so much out of watching these 2 players hitting back-to-back. When general manager Brian Cashman has talked about them, he's referred to them as 2 number 8s. And what does that mean? In scouting parlance, when you're measuring a player, they can be from a 20 to an 80. Offensively, Soto and Judge are 80s.
So those are 2 of the key offensive cogs for the Yankees. The guy on the mound is one of the real variables for the Yankees, where they could take the next step. He didn't have a good first season with the Yankees last year. Carlos Rodon has looked great so far, reporting early to Tampa, pitching with his teammates. You see his numbers from last year, Jack, but this is a guy they expect big things out of.
Yeah, when you talk about bounce-back players, he needs to be one of them. So let's check out the Hyundai scouting report on Rodon, Michael, and he's an X factor. To me, the one Yankee who needs to bounce back and have a rebound season more than anyone, it's this guy right here. 6-year, $162 million contract, was supposed to be a number 2. He wasn't. I think he needs to be more unpredictable. He said that at the end of last season. He's fastball slider, but he felt toward the end of last season that he was too predictable in what he was trying to do, and hitters were detecting that. How do you become more unpredictable? You incorporate that 3rd pitch. He does have a curveball. He does have a changeup. Didn't throw them that much last year. He was fastball, slider 90% of the time. Pitching coach Matt Blake said he needs to incorporate that 3rd pitch without losing the strength of his 2 best pitches.
Take a look at the defense behind him. You've got Verdugo in left, Judge in center, Soto in right. The infield, it's Van Meter, Smith, Torres, and Rizzo. That's 3rd to 1st. Narvaez behind the plate, and Carlos Rodon is on the mound. Clement's ready, Rodon's ready. Let's do it in Tampa. And the first pitch is a bit upstairs, and we are underway. Ernie Clement leading off for the Toronto Blue Jays, coming to the game 0-1. Yankees won yesterday in their first spring training game, 22-11. That one is drilled deep to left and a foul ball, so the Yankees are 1-0. .30 games last year. Clement obviously put up good numbers, but the shortstop for the Blue Jays, he's not starting in this one on a road game, is Bo Bichette. Blue Jays finished at 89-73, 3rd in the American League East last year. They made the playoffs. They got swept out of the wild card. But all eyes on this left-hander in the 2nd year of a 6-year deal that he signed with the Yankees. He started last year on the IL, played catch-up the whole way back. That one's popped up on the right side. Torres there puts it away. 1 down. Take a look at the entire Blue Jays lineup. We just saw Clement, Eduardo Escobar, free agent signing. 3rd baseman, he'll bat 2nd. Kirk, the catcher. Then Vogelbach signed a minor league deal. Davis Schneider in left. Addison Barger in right. Martinez, Parmigiani, and Baroa, the bottom of the order for Toronto.
Michael, when we talk about Rodon, we say to ourselves, who can he be? And that fastball right there is what the Yankees want him to feature a lot this year. In 21-22, 27-13, 2.67 ERA, led the majors in strikeouts per 9 with over 12. It's that fastball up in the zone that is one of his calling cards. He then has that hard-breaking slider. It might be a back foot slider. It might be a backdoor slider. But as I said, he wants to figure out a way to make the curveball and the changeup players as well. I'm curious to see what he does here 0-2. Does he go right back to the slider, which is his money pitch? He goes fastball.
3 in a row. Escobar down on strikes, 2 down here in the top of the first inning.
One more look at this. This is who Rodon can be. John Flaherty has talked about this, Bob, Michael. So used to working with
Bob too much, yeah.
Throw that fastball inside. He throws it up in the zone a lot. There's what batters did against his slider last year. It was almost unhittable in 21 and 22. Not as effective, especially with the strikeouts in 23. But spoke to Boone before spring training began. He watched some of Rodon's bullpen sessions. He said different pitcher. You can tell he's leaner, and the Yankees are hoping he's meaner and more successful this year.
And also he's going to need more velocity. And in the early going, when he was across the street at Himes, the minor league complex, he was being clocked at about 97. Last year, that wasn't happening. So that's a big weapon for him if that fastball is in the high 90s. That's 95 right there, 1-2. Rodon shakes off Narvaez in a timeout. Hey, we are absolutely thrilled that you can join us for this whole exhibition season. We're doing 25 games on Yes, and then our usual games during the season. Our 23rd year of the Yes Network broadcasting Yankee games, and we're thankful that you could be part of it as Kurt goes down on strikes. The Blue Jays go down in order against Rodon, and we're going to get a very close look at Juan Soto as he bats second in the bottom of the first inning. And before the game, Meredith Morakovitz caught up with the newest Yankee.
Juan, Yankees fans are going to get the opportunity to see you in pinstripes in the field for the first time this season. Is it meaningful for you to put that uniform on?
It's going to mean a lot, you know, just get that feeling of the first game, spring training. You know, we're still in spring training, but it feels good, you know, to be here, to share the fields with these guys and get the same dimensions as Yankee Stadium. So I think it's going to be pretty good.
Well, you've been sharing a BP group with Aaron Judge, and it looks like you guys are having a little bit of fun out there. Is there some friendly competition going on?
Yeah, it's always a good competition. You know, we try to make it interesting in the batting practice and everything, just to make sure we transfer that to the game. I think we've been doing a great job so far. Aaron
Boone has you penciled in batting second today. Do you care where you hit in that order? Are you comfortable hitting second?
Yeah, I'm feel good. I'm confident right there. I did that for the most part of the last year, so I think I'm pretty comfortable right there.
You seem like a guy that certainly likes the spotlight and excels when the lights are the brightest. What do you think allows you to do so?
I mean, it's just I like to be right there. I like to be up when we need to get a run and bring the guy in. I think that makes you great. That's the great part of the game. Even if I fall, if I miss the chance to get the job done, but I want to be up there. So I think that's good for me.
What's one thing you want Yankees fans to know about you?
That I'm gonna play hard every day. It doesn't matter if I'm doing good or I'm doing bad. I'm gonna be bringing my 100% every day, no matter what.
Juan, thanks for the time. We look forward to watching you this season.
Thank you.
Send it back to you, Michael.
All right, thank you, Meredith. Every day is the operative phrase. He was the only outfielder in Major League Baseball last year to play 162 games. And Yankee fans getting a first look at him. This is one of the best players in baseball. And at his age, he is one of the best players in baseball history. And that's not hyperbolic at all.
When he did a press conference introductory, Michael, he wore a T-shirt that said generational talent or generational player. And that's who Juan Soto is. It wasn't an exaggeration for him to wear that T-shirt because it's true. Cole talked about him having better command of the strike zone than anyone he's ever seen. Judge says he almost knows what's coming out of a pitcher's hand. So it is going to be a delight for Yankee fans to see Soto get 600-plus plate appearances this year.
So he's waiting to make his offensive debut. And here's Verdugo making his offensive debut. And the count 1-1 against Bowden Francis. Blue Jay right-hander. Top of the order for the Yankees, Verdugo, Soto, and Judge. That one is grounded and past a diving Palmaggiani and down into the right field corner. And Verdugo hustles around first. He'll go to second. And that is a Verdugo specialty. He is a doubles machine.
And Francis trying to come inside on Verdugo. He is able to get that double, but now Soto steps to the plate. And even though it's only spring training, Michael, this is a spine-tingling moment if you're a Yankee fan, because you're excited to see who Soto is and what he can provide for the Yankees this year. Sure, these games don't mean anything towards your 2024 record, but you're envisioning what Soto will mean to that lineup.
And there's a strike, drops a breaking ball in there. 0-1. He has an uncanny eye at the plate, walks so much, incredibly high, over 40% on base percentage each and every year. Takes a lot of pitches. That one is grounded to second base. He fell getting out of the box. As Martinez gets him at first, Verdugo will move to third.
So he moved the runner over. That's what you want to do in baseball. Let's take a look at the swing. And you're right, Michael. After the follow-through, as he moves to get out of the box, we see him slip based on the way that he ran to first base and got himself up and out. Don't think that's anything more than a little bit of a slip. We'll keep an eye on it, but Judge now in the box.
Judge crushes one into left center field. That's going to be in there for a base hit. Baroa cuts the ball off. A run will score. An RBI single for Judge, and the Yankees are on the board. It's 1-0.
Judge with the RBI single, but let's take a look back at that Soto at bat one more time, and it was a pitch up in the zone. He does slip on his back foot as he's getting out of the box, but does run all the way through. We'll keep an eye on him, and Meredith obviously will keep an eye on everything that is going on in Tampa in terms of Soto. But Yankees on the board quickly in 2024.
Rizzo swings to the pitch way inside and fouls it away.
Michael, I like Soto 2, Judge 3. I know you and I have had a debate about this. I like Soto with that lifetime on-base percentage of over 400, hitting in front of Judge, who is your home run hitter. I think it's going to work well for the Yankees.
0-1 on Rizzo. Well, the Yankees really missed Rizzo last year after he and Fernando Tatis Jr. ran into each other at first base, and he was obviously concussed. He did not make that known to the Yankees for quite a while, tried to play through it. You could see he was not the player that he had been previously. Had a good year up to that point, and then it was a lost season for him, and the Yankees feel that he feels he's all the way back.
53 games before the concussion issues, 11 homers, an OPS of almost 900. After that, 172 with 1 homer in 169 at-bats. Rizzo later found out and admitted through some tests that his reaction time was just not what it should have been. So he was basically a handicapped, I'll put that in quotes, player coming up to the plate. He wasn't himself. Everything that Rizzo and the Yankees have said about him going forward this spring, they believe he'll be a complete player in 2024, and you're talking about someone who is so vital to what the Yankees are trying to do.
Rizzo rips one to right field. It's a base hit. That's going to go into the corner. Judge round second. He'll go to third. He'll stop right there. And Rizzo picks himself up a double. Yankees have runners on second and third with 1 out.
Good start for the Yankee offense right out of the box. And one more look at this. We see an off-speed pitch from Francis, and he's not fooling Rizzo at all. Rizzo is right on it. That's all about pitch recognition. It's early in spring training, but Rizzo clearly picking up on that. And there's Judge, 6'7", 282 pounds. He's cruising around to third. He knows this ballpark well. He knows he's easily going to be able to make third. Does dance off third a little bit as the Blue Jays were collecting the baseball, but Yankees off to a quick start.
Blue Jays bring the first baseman in as Torres fouls it back. Torres entering the final year before free agency. He's in great shape. Has been working a lot during the offseason. Had a good year last year, 25 homers, 68 ribbies. And he does play all the time, 158 games for Gleyber Torres. Off-speed pitch, swung on a miss.
Michael, every spring training we hear players say, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to work on that. Gleyber Torres deserves credit because last spring training he talked about being more disciplined at the plate, and then we saw that throughout 2023. had almost twice as many walks as he did in the previous season, 2022, and cut his strikeouts from 129 to under 100. What did he do? He was less aggressive in terms of chasing out of the zone. And you do that, you get better pitches to hit, or you get walks and you pass the baton to your teammates.
Second and third, one man out. Yankees have one run in. 1-2. Yankees coming off a disappointing season when they were 82-80. They were fourth in the American League East, 19 games behind the Orioles. And they did not make the postseason after going 6 straight seasons. Ground ball, second base. That's going to get a run in. Martinez gobbles it up over the first. Scoring is Judge. Moving to third, Rizzo. And the Yankees lead 2-0.
Here are the numbers on Francis last year, Michael, pitching exclusively out of the bullpen. You see, he had a really solid year for the Blue Jays. Almost a strikeout per inning. The ERA is under 2. Our Hyundai pitcher's scouting report tells you that as far as he is concerned, he's a 3-pitch pitcher. You're going to see fastball, slider, and curve. He's being built up. Even though he's been a bullpen guy, they're going to let him pitch a little deeper in spring because he was a starter in the minor leagues. And then it might be too early for this, Michael, but he's 6'5", so he's tall, and he's from Tallahassee. So that's my third point right there. You okay with that?
You did a lot of work on that, let me tell you. I have a little thing to add to the scouting report as well. He's named after Bobby Bowden.
That's cool. That should have been in my scouting report. Do you know what else? And I don't think he's doing it today. Last year, when he wears white cleats, white spikes, he took one of his kids, and I'm sure Charlie and Callie did this at some point. Basically, I think that might be, and I don't know if that's it. It was basically a splatter. It was just the child had just done some finger painting, and he turned that into his cleats. This one looked a little more artistic.
Right in on the hands of Van Meter. Lofts one to right field. And Barger makes the play. So good. First inning for the Yankees. 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 left. It's 2-0 Bombers. Spring Training on Yes is presented by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official SUV of the Yankees. For current offers, visit buyfordnow.com. That's how Meredith got to work today. That boat. Big time. Big time crowd for the first game of spring training at home. Yankees lead 2-0 as we go to the second inning. Carlos Rodon working easy. 1-2-3 in the first, ringing up a couple of strikeouts. Daniel Vogelbach digs in. See Vogelbach's numbers. Did that with the Mets last year. He will take a walk, that's for sure. Not this time as he grounds it to Smith. Flips it over. 1 away.
Michael, revisiting the thought about what Rodon needs to do in terms of his repertoire this year. Make no mistake about it. He's a fastball slider pitcher. In his strong years in 21 and 22, he threw fastball slider more than 92% of the time. 21, he threw it about 86% of the time. He threw his changeup 12% of the time. So those pitches are going to be what gets him to where he wants to get to. But even pitching coach Matt Blake has talked about the importance of that third pitch and just how it gives batters something else to think about, something else to look for. That being said, when I raised the idea of a third pitch with Aaron Boone, he said, sure, that's a factor. But he has told Rodon, be yourself. Do whatever you have to do so that when you walk to the mound every 5 days, you feel that you're ready to produce.
Fly ball down the left field line, giving chase Verdugo into the corner, but it's out of play.
And give Rodon credit for being honest. He was asked to assess last year. He said, I wasn't very good. He might have had one of the worst endings to a season that a player could have. Gave up 8 runs in Kansas City, didn't retire a batter, turned his back on his pitching coach. He did tell reporters in Tampa that he left that start and he left that season in Kansas City when he drove away. But I got to think in the offseason, you're thinking about that for motivation to try and make sure you can be better in the next year.
Yeah, talk about motivation. I've had so many people with the Yankees tell me getting punched in the face is an amazing bit of motivation. And he got punched in the face last year. This is a big-time pitcher. This is a guy who's, put up amazing seasons for the the Giants and the White Sox before he signed as a free agent, so that wasn't acceptable for him last year.
And he's admitted it. The Yankees have admitted it. And what do? You go back to the drawing board and figure out how you can be better. Now that's a good pitch right there. That's some of what I think our colleague John Flaherty is talking about. Now that slider was down, but that was a good take by Snyder, and that's where you sometimes need to live.
Oh, that was close.
That's strike 3 that just wasn't called.
Vic Carapaz is behind the plate. Mark Wegner, the crew chief, at first. Laz Diaz at second. Ramon Ortiz at third.
Yeah, one more look at that. I think it's a strike.
Yes, he thought it was a little low. Rodon has also gotten rid of the mustache from last year, so he's changed a lot. Looks different. As Jack said earlier, it looks like he's in more of a leaner frame than he was last year. Swing and a miss. Dials up the fastball. Third strikeout for Rodon.
Looks good so far, Michael. The fastball has got life on it. You're going to see this right here. I love what he did here with Schneider. He went back-to-back. He went slider, he missed with a fastball, and then he just elevated the fastball a little more. That's a great job of pitching by Rodon, going with his strengths.
That one was a little bit low, 1-0.
In terms of being leaner, Michael, pitching coach Matt Blake said they wanted Rodon to improve his range of motion that allow him to access his delivery differently and have some more power behind everything that he was doing.
All good pitches there, but just out of the strike zone, so 3-0 on Barger. Conquered 3 levels in the Blue Jay system last year. There's a strike. Rodon last year, arm barked first half, then the back became an issue. So he's kind of working uphill all season, trying to get back to his base point. But in good shape so far at the beginning of camp.
I think that forearm strain to start the season set him back, and then he felt like he was playing catch-up the rest of the way. That's another good pitch on 3-2, Michael. Just right in on the hands with Barger. It's spring training. It's one outing. There's a long way to go. But for these first 28 pitches, if you're the Yankees, you're encouraged by what you've seen out of Rodon.
Misses with the breaking ball upstairs, so the first base runner for the Blue Jays as Barger works a 2-out walk. And that brings up Martinez.
Rodon, by the way, throwing to Narvaez today, someone who will probably start the season at AAA. Yankees added him to their 40-man roster in November.
Mentioned the Yankees played yesterday in Lakeland. They won 22-10. A 470-foot home run by one of their top prospects, Spencer Jones. And we'll see Spencer a little bit later in this game as Narvaez wants to talk with Rodon. Rodon went 3-0 on Barger, came back. Now he's 2-0 here on Martinez. So 31 pitches, 19 strikes for the Yankee left-hander.
One thing that Rodon has also talked about, Michael, was his emotions. He's an emotional player on the mound. He's got some swagger, he's got some volatility, and that both guides him and motivates him and pushes him. But he wondered last year if maybe sometimes a little too much, and he has to temper it. He talked about it being a fine line of when to know to use that to his advantage.
So a shot of Yankee manager Aaron Boone. We will talk to Aaron in the 4th inning from the bench. There's a strike. Three and two.
2-3-0 counts for Rodon. Battled back to 3-2 in both instances. He walked Barger. Let's see what he does with Martinez right here.
So Boone told Meredith Marakovitz that Rodon's had a max of 50 pitches. And another walk, so 2 straight walks after retiring the first 5 batters, and he's at 35 pitches. So 15 more in his first spring training start. And that'll bring up Damiano Palmajani. AA and AAA last year. Shows some power, 23 home runs. Barger is at second. Martinez at first. Yankees up 2-0 in the top of the second inning. Our first spring training broadcast of the year on Yes. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. 1, Yankees and the Twins from Tampa. And that clips Palmajani, and that's going to load the bases.
So just after I talked about Rodon's first 28 pitches being exactly what the Yankees would want them to be, a couple of walks and a hit batter load the bases. But Michael, your spring is not always going to be smooth sailing. So as much as you want to dominate, you also want to be in situations that you're going to be in the season. Well, Rodon is in one of them. And now that he's loaded the bases, he's facing the number 9 batter in the order. If this is a regular season game and you're Carlos Rodon, you've got to attack right now. You have to go get the number 9 batter in the order. Get yourself out of this and come out of it unscathed.
Throws a strike as Baroa fouls it back, and the count 0-1. Bases loaded, 2 men out. Yankees up 2-0. Yankees with an RBI single by Judge in the first, followed a couple batters later by Gleyber Torres' RBI groundout. 0-2 with another foul ball.
And he's done exactly that in going after Baroa, just going straight fastball, going heat at this point, jumping ahead, not wanting to fall behind as he did for the previous batters.
Barger at third, Martinez at second, Palmajani is at first. Goes pretty high with the fastball, dialed it up to 95, 1-2.
I think what we've seen some of this inning, a little bit of overthrowing with Rodon, missing high and outside in the zone.
Swing and a miss. And he works out of trouble, picks up his 4th strikeout in 2 innings. Blue Jays leave the bases loaded. We go to the bottom of the second. The Yankees lead 2-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. This is the Yankee lineup today: Verdugo, Soto, and Judge. How about that on-base percentage for Verdugo since 2018, the best in the majors, 421. Then you've got Rizzo, Torres, and Van Meter, and the shortstop Kevin Smith, DH JC Escara, and Carlos Narvaez will catch. He's going to bat 9th. And here's Kevin Smith, who swings through the offering from Bowden Francis.
Smith, born in East Greenbush, New York, Michael, went to Columbia High School, played at the University of Maryland. He was actually a 4th-round pick by these same Blue Jays in 2017. He's played 114 games at the major league level, 173 hitter, signed a minor league contract with the Yankees. His calling card is versatility. He can play different positions around the field. Mostly second base and shortstop in the majors, but he also can play second. He can play the 2 corner spots in the outfield.
Now, a guy like that was on the Yankees last year, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, has signed as a free agent with the Blue Jays. And with Matt Chapman as a free agent looking like he's not coming back to the Blue Jays, it looks like IKF is going to be the starting third baseman for Toronto as Smith goes down on strikes.
I watched some of that Blue Jays game yesterday, and IKF started at third base, and Buck Martinez, their announcer, was talking about exactly what you just said. So IKF got himself a 2-year deal. He does have a gold glove on his mantle from playing third base for the Texas Rangers, so he finds new life with a division rival.
It is strange with the Blue Jays, though, because they don't have many outfielders. They just don't have a lot of depth in the outfield. They're trying to look for some of those. So that's going to be something that they'll look at, and IKF proved last year that he can play the outfield, but looks like he's penciled in for sure as their third baseman.
J.C. Escarra, Michael, been out of baseball, professional baseball since 22, had to go the independent league route, played in the Atlantic League, played in Mexico. Yankees signed him to a minor league deal. So he's a new face coming in the Yankee clubhouse, you would presume, right? Mm-hmm. So I did a little research. If you pull up the Miami Herald from May 22nd, 2013, as Escarra lines a single, the all-Dade County high school baseball team, Nestor Cortez and J.C. Escarra were both on the all-Dade County team in 2013. Escarra was the DH, hit over 400. I'm going to take one more look at that swing. And Nestor was a great pitcher. His team didn't support him because he was 4-3, but he had a 1.33 ERA. So Nestor was at Hialeah, and Escarra was at Mater Academy.
Narvaez takes high. That's a pretty bad record for a 1.3 something ERA.
I don't think the Hialeah kid got much offensive support that year, because the year before he was 8-0 or 8-1. I've got the numbers here somewhere. Now you're challenging me. The year before he was 8-0 with a 1.51.
Well, he's certainly one of the pitchers the Yankees are depending to make a turnaround from last year. He and Rodon are so key to what they're trying to do this year. Yankees did add another arm out of the free agent market, Marcus Stroman. So they've got their starting five, but they traded away a lot of their pitching depth to get Juan Soto. And they would do it again.
Hal Steinbrenner said that to Meredith and other reporters in Tampa. When that situation presents itself and you can get Juan Soto and the package of players that the Padres want is, and I put agreeable in quotes because there are some players the Yankees would have not wanted to trade. Probably didn't want to give up King, probably didn't want to give up Thorpe, but when you can get Juan Soto, that's a trade you make 10 times out of 10.
I mean, the Yankees made that deal fairly early, but it was delayed for a while because they tried so many different permutations of that deal so that they did not have to include Michael King, but the Padres insisted on King. And finally, the Yankees, knowing that they had to reboot their offense, they wanted Soto so badly that, okay, they included King. Here's Verdugo, doubled in his first at-bat, and came around to score, pitch up and away.
And King will get a chance to be in that Padres rotation. Higashioka is going to get a lot of time in San Diego. Drew Thorpe potentially has a bright future ahead of him, but it's Juan Soto. It's a future Hall of Famer. Your offense was stagnant last year. You needed that left-handed hitter. The best left-handed hitter in baseball was available. So Brian Cashman and the rest of that front office enacted that deal. And do you know what I think helped make that deal come to fruition, Michael? The fact that the Yankees and the Padres had spoken at the trade deadline last year.
Fly ball, right center, and the catch is made by Barger, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, one man left. Let's go to the third, 2-0 Yanks.
Hey, what have you seen in his bullpen sessions and his live sessions so far here early on?
Yeah, I think he's just moving a lot better. He got here early in January. He was working with our guys, Sam Bree and Desi Druschel, for all of January. And feels like his body's in a good spot. The delivery looks like it's in a good spot. Intensity level's been up from where we saw it last year. So far, so good.
What do you attribute that increased intensity to?
I think we know each other better. We kind of know what we were looking for coming into camp this year. I think he spent a lot of time just getting his body in shape ahead of schedule, maybe push the throwing program a little bit up this year just to make sure we were in a good spot delivery-wise. Just accessing a little bit better range of motion in his lower half, and seems like it's ended up giving us a better direction in the delivery.
You mentioned the lower half. Anything aside from that change from last year with his delivery so far?
Maybe just a little bit of direction at times, maybe just a little open last year, maybe showing the ball a touch early. So I think just with the life on the fastball, it looks like he's keeping his direction a little bit cleaner behind the ball, and it seems like that there's a little bit more another gear to it.
That was the interview of the day, brought to you by your local Ford stores. We thank Meredith and Matt Blake, the Yankee pitching coach.
Michael, I take something out of that interview. Great job by Meredith to ask that question. When Blake's saying maybe showing the ball a touch early. If you're a two-pitch pitcher and you might be showing the ball a touch early, when it's already a 50-50 proposition for a lot of hitters, I think Matt Blake is telling you right there that some modifications needed to be made, some revisions needed to be made. So interesting little tidbit provided by the pitching coach about how Rodon can be more successful this year by potentially hiding the ball and keeping it out of the view of the hitter a little bit longer.
You know, so many struggles for so many pitchers are manifestations of tipping. And, you know, players around the league are so good at it. It's not cheating at all. It's gamesmanship, and you have to be able to scout your own guys to see if they are indeed tipping. So showing the ball a little early means that you are tipping what pitch is coming.
Our colleague David Cohn told me about how he tipped when he was with the Mets. Told me that Dwight Gooden was tipping, and batters still couldn't hit him, but he was tipping. So every pitcher at some point goes through it. And another strikeout for Rodon on the fastball. Whether it's tipping, Michael, or a tell, or just showing something early, you don't want it to happen. You want this to happen. You want to be able to power your fastball by a hitter in a spot like that. And Rodon able to do that against Escobar.
All right, so 47 pitches for Rodon. They want to hold them to 50. Let's see if they keep it to exactly 50. Here's Kirk with 2 outs in the third. High fly ball, deep left field. Going back for Dugo, turning, looking, see ya. A home run for Kirk. The Blue Jays are on the board. It's 2-1 Yanks.
Yeah, Kirk jumps on that first pitch fastball. He had a down year for the Blue Jays last year. And when Moreno, who was traded to the Diamondbacks, had the year that he had, a lot of spotlight on those Blue Jays catchers. And there's your answer, Michael. After the home run, Boone is going to go to the bullpen.
So again, they wanted him at 50. They'll take 48 out of him. He had some struggles in the second, worked out of it, gave up a home run to Kirk. It's 2-1. We'll be back in a moment. Well, the Yankees bringing the lefty Josh Maciejewski to a first pitch fastball up and in to Vogelbach, so it's 1-0. 2-1 Yankees lead. We're in the third. Rodon goes 2 2/3. And there's a strike.
Maciejewski's numbers last year, Michael, at 3 levels. You see averaging more than a strikeout an inning, slightly more. Good strikeout to walk ratio. Opponent's batting average against is good. You can see 6'3", and the way he kind of slings the ball behind him, hides it from the hitter. Good left-on-left matchup here, I would imagine, for the Yankees. 10th round pick out of UNC Charlotte in 2018.
He's playing Hyde Park there. He's sponsored. That was good back in the day.
Two-way, 1-2. Where was that? Woo. Like a pretty good pitch, but Vic Carapazza didn't think so. 2-2.
If we had the automated ball and strike system, this one would be challenged by the Yankees and by Maciejewski.
Vogelbach trying to make the Blue Jays. Non-roster player right now. Played with the Mets last year.
Before Maciejewski even threw a pitch, Michael, and I have to admit I had not seen him pitch at AAA last year. He looks like a guy who would describe as a crafty lefty, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing. Sinker, slider. He has a changeup as well. He's about deception. He's coming in here and trying to deceive hitters.
Another just miss. Always took offense to the fact that a righty can't be crafty. Why not?
Well, maybe a righty can have some guile.
But not craft.
Not craft.
Gotcha. 3-2. Drops in the breaking ball for a strike. Maciejewski strikes out Vogelback. The Kirk home run puts the Blue Jays on the board. 2-1 Yanks.
He's going to get on base. He's going to drive the ball over the ballpark. He's a left-handed bat right in the middle, which we've needed for a while now.
Having faced him and not really had, not really had a ton of success, to be quite honest. Very thankful that I don't have to pitch against him, and very thankful that he's on our side and excited to see what he can bring.
Well, that is the overwhelming feeling amongst the Yankees about Juan Soto, who will lead off the bottom of the third. And Mitch White, the new pitcher, deals a strike. Montefiore Einstein scoreboard, 2-1 Yankees. Soto grounded to second in the first and slipped coming out of the box. In there for a second at bat.
It's always interesting to me, Michael, when players of the stature of Cole and Judge talk about someone else, and they do it in such a reverent way. And what Cole and Judge just said there about Soto tells you the level and the pedestal that they put him on, and it's rightfully so. This is a player who made his debut when he was 19, finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting that year to Acuna Jr. He's played just shy of 800 Major League games, 160 homers, close to 500 runs batted in. But how about this? A guy who hits with that much power, 640 career walks, 577 career strikeouts. He puts the ball in play, and he forces you to throw strikes.
Slice the other way, foul ball. Here's another one. I mean, you could just have these eye-opening stats about Soto. Players 150 more home runs and a 400 or better on base percentage through their age 24 season in big league history. Jimmy Fox, Mickey Mantle, Mel Ott, Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, and that guy, Juan Soto.
That's why when you say, or I say, his career is on a Hall of Fame trajectory, it's not hyperbole. And that's an example of who Juan Soto is right there. White trying to get him to chase on that 2-2 breaking pitch, and you could see Soto just stared it right into the glove, not even biting.
3-2. Missed outside. Soto works a walk. There's what I just spoke about. So there's 3 Hall of Famers. Pujols is going. Trout is certainly on that trajectory. I'd say very good chance he'll be there. And Juan Soto, barring injury, is certainly putting a resume together that will one day end up on a plaque in the plaque room in Cooperstown.
25 years old, doesn't turn 26 until October. Yankees know they have him for this season. They would love that marriage to continue. Hal Steinbrenner was asked about that during spring training, and he said his preference is not to negotiate because it could become a distraction, but if both sides ever wanted to come together, it would be something that he would consider. Yankees want to enjoy what's in front of them right now, and that's Juan Soto in 2024.
1-1. Judge with an RBI single, left center field in the first inning. Yankees first run of the game. So we give you those incredible numbers across the board for Soto, and he's only the second player in Major League history with those numbers that was traded before the age of 25. The other one, Babe Ruth.
Wow.
That one is ripped to left field. It's a base hit. Cutting over Snyder, cut the ball off in the gap. As Soto moves to third. It's a double for Judge, second and third, nobody out.
So why do you hit Juan Soto in front of Aaron Judge? Because he's going to get on base a lot, and things like this are going to happen. Sometimes they're going to sail over the fence. Sometimes they're going to sail into the outfield and find some green grass. That looked like a backup breaking pitch from White in on the hands. Judge stays back on it, drives it to left field. Soto cruises his way into third with nobody out. He's going to stay there, and the Yankees have the makings of another rally.
Rizzo takes upstairs. Escobar is about even with the bag at third. Everybody else back, so a ground ball gets a run in. Soto at third, Judge at second. Nobody out. Ground ball, second base. Grabbed there by Martinez. Over to first. Run scores, and Judge moves to third. Yankees lead 3-1.
We're 3 innings into the spring training season, Michael. Long way to go. But I do find it noteworthy that the Yankees have already scored 2 runs in this game based on productive outs. Torres with a ground ball in the first inning. Rizzo with a ground ball right there. It might not seem like much, but you have to take what the opposition is giving you, and the Yankees have done that a couple of times.
Infield is in for Gleyber Torres with a runner on third. That one's popped up. Kirk gives a look, but it's in the seats.
Michael, have you checked out any of Gleyber Torres' YouTube show, The Gley Way?
I have seen highlights of it.
I have too. I don't know if I'd sat down and watched an entire episode, but there was one clip where he was in the cage with Aaron Judge and just the two of them talking hitting and the style of baseball bat that they used. I found it very interesting.
Gleyber sporting a mustache as spring training was opening. First couple of days, and then they had picture day, and it was gone. Gets away from Kirk. Meredith, you have more information about that mustache situation.
Well, Michael, you couldn't help but notice it as soon as he walked into the clubhouse. There was actually a picture with him and Nestor Cortez calling themselves Mario and Luigi. Hey, whatever works, right? And I asked him about it. Why did you decide to grow the mustache? And he said, well, Wells has one. Other guys have had them throughout the years. He thought he should have one of those Yankee mustaches. Now I said, does your wife like it? He said, my wife hates it. My son hates it. It's probably not going to be around that long. And the next day, it was gone, Michael, as you know.
There's a fly ball. That's going to get a run in as Judge scores standing. Sac fly for Torres, his second ribby of the game. And it's 4-1. Well, I'm excited to announce that the Legends of Baseball will be having their second annual baseball cruise on the Celebrity Cruises Apex on December 7, 2024. They'll be visiting Key West, Bimini, the Dominican Republic, and the gorgeous private island of Labadee in Haiti. The Legends will include Nestor Cortez, Mickey Rivers, Jesse Barfield, Ron Bloomberg, and my colleague Jeff Nelson, and many more. This exclusive cruise will include all meals, drinks, Wi-Fi, gratuities, and onboard entertainment, as well as your private autograph and photo sessions with all the legends. Staterooms are going fast, so please be sure to visit legendsofbaseballcruise.com to get all the details so you don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Josh Van Meter at the plate for the Yankees. Playing third base today. Last year at AAA with Milwaukee, 209 batting average, 6 home runs, drove in 22. He's played in the majors with the Diamondbacks, the Reds, and the Pirates, trying to work his way back to a major league spot.
Ripped into center field. Baroa makes the play, and that'll do it. But the Yankees get 2 runs on a hit. Nobody left on base. 3 in the books. It's 4-1 Yankees. Top of the 4th inning in Tampa, Montefiore Einstein scoreboard. Yankees lead by a score of 4-1 over the Toronto Blue Jays. First home spring training game for the Yankees after they won yesterday 22-10. 4th inning, we get a chance to talk with the manager of the New York Yankees, and that is Aaron Boone. Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
Great. Greetings from Tampa. Beautiful down here.
Seventh season. Does it seem like 7 seasons?
Yeah, that's gone fast. So no, I don't know that it does feel that. Seems like I just got here, but exciting time of year, that's for sure.
All right, so let's ask you right off the bat about Carlos Rodon. Rung up a lot of strikeouts, struggled a bit in the second, then gave up the home run, but obviously looked better than he did at the start last year.
Yeah, he's looked much crisper, much better in his delivery, just in a better place physically, obviously, right now. So another important step for him, obviously getting up to, I think he ended up throwing 48 pitches there, kind of pulled that last cutter down and in. But, yeah, he's done a nice job this winter, and excited about where he's at so far.
Aaron, I think this goes without saying. He's such an X factor for you guys because of who he can be and who you guys expected him to be. If Rodon can pitch the way he did in 21 and 22, what does that mean to what the Yankees are trying to accomplish?
Well, obviously we know is Schneider's skies 1 to center. Look, obviously, you know, we brought him in here. He's been an outstanding pitcher in this league. He's still very much in the prime of his career. And obviously, you know, last year did not go anywhere close to how he or any of us expected, but he's worked his tail off to put himself in a position. He's laid a really nice foundation for himself, and I just want him to focus on, you know, today was about getting ready to pitch. You know, he knew he was probably going 3 ups and around 50 pitches. Like, now it's start back on that process of getting ready for his next start, and focus on that. Focus on going to the post every 5th or 6th day. And I really feel like if he can do that and continue to check all his boxes and continue to lay his foundation as he goes through the season, I think if we look up in the end, the numbers will be there. But that's what I want his focus to be.
Luke Weaver in for the Yankees. 1-1 count on Barger, and that one's fouled back. 1-2. 82 and 80, and not making the playoffs last year, Aaron. How much is that serving as motivation for this team and for you?
Here's what every spring I come in, like, we've aspired to be a champion, and that's no different this year. And you'd like to think that you don't need any extra carrot putting this uniform on in this league, and what we've had the opportunity to do every year. Now, I can just say, taking witness to what the guys have done this winter, and especially having, you know, a fair amount of guys that, you know, dealt with different injuries at different points of the season last year. Like, to me, there has been a different edge to the way these guys have prepared this winter, and even early on this spring, like, so many guys being over at Himes preparing, and what we've seen here early in camp. So I do think it's been a motivating factor. But anytime you put this uniform on and you have the opportunity to do what we do, you shouldn't need much motivation.
Aaron, you look at the addition of Soto, and Michael and I have been reading off statistics and playing clips from some of his teammates, but when baseball people are in the dugout and watching Soto at the plate doing what he does, what are the kind of things that you guys are saying about Juan Soto?
Well, when he went on deck for his first at-bat in the first inning, I just turned to Brad Ausmus. I said, man, he looks good in that uniform, and I'm glad I get to watch it in our uniform this year. Uh-oh, hook.
It hooked.
I think it was fair. Don't tell anyone.
You have a good angle. You have a better angle.
I have as good an angle as you can have.
Let's see. No, it looks like it's foul by just an inch.
Jeez. All right.
So beyond the wardrobe and the fact that he looks good in pinstripes,
yes.
What other things are you guys sharing about the magnificence of Juan Soto?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, look, at its best, I mean, he is the poster child for the kind of at-bats I want our guys to have, and that's just however the at-bat ends. Walk, homer, base hit, ground, whatever it is. Like, you want that at-bat to feel like a battle, a war up there. And I feel like when we have been at our best at different times as an offense, that's been that feeling, that heaviness that a pitcher has to go through when they face us. And I think Juan embodies that as much as anyone in Major League Baseball. And, you know, in his first 2 at-bats here, you kind of see that. It's just like, man, he's obviously got such an amazing eye, but it feels like this ultimate battle, and you better execute if you're a pitcher pitching against him and hopefully us.
Palmajani grounds out, so we only have Aaron Boone for a short while, but we thank him nonetheless. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Aaron.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yankees 4, Blue Jays 1. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Yankees spring training on Yes is brought to you in part by Hyundai. Get away with great deals on every new Hyundai. Only at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event today. Visit buyhyundai.com today. By the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Help America's heroes. Donate $11 a month at T2T.org. By FanDuel. Make every moment more. And by Acura. Precision crafted performance. Been some chilly weather in Florida, but today it's beautiful in the 70s and people out at the beach and a full house at the ballpark as we start the 4th inning at George M. Steinbrenner Field. And an 0-1 count to start it off. Trevor Richards, Blue Jays' 3rd pitcher, 1-1. To Smith, you see his numbers. Last year, 56 games, 3 starts, 2-1, 4.95. A lot of strikeouts in 72 and 2/3 innings. Smith lost one to right field. Barger is there and puts it away. So we speak to Boone. Now, when you read all the preseason publications, which I love, it's like one of the rites of spring, all the different websites and things like that. When you talk about managers that could be on the hot seat, the guy in the other dugout is considered to be on the hot seat, John Schneider. Although they made the playoffs last year, a questionable decision in Game 2 when he took out his starter way too early, and it kind of backfired. They didn't score anyway, but they ended up getting swept by the Minnesota Twins. But Schneider, you know, obviously with a talented team, is expected to go far this year. They have a very good pitching staff.
Right, you get there, that's the goal, but then once you get there, obviously every manager and every team is judged on what happens. And in 2022 and in 2023, the Blue Jays were knocked out in the first round in 2 games in both times. You go back to 2022, the Mariners swept them, and that included the Blue Jays blowing an 8-1 lead in Game 2 of that series. The Blue Jays were talking World Series at that point, and it didn't work out for them.
And the pitcher that he took out in Game 2 last year was Jose Barrios, who was really dealing. And then after the game, John intimated that it was an organizational decision. And then the organization said, no, it was a manager's decision. So we'll see how that plays out in Toronto as Escara picks up his second base hit. Now, PECOTA is a website that obviously projects what the standings are going to be, and they had the Yankees winning the American League East with 94 wins, the Blue Jays second with 88, then the Orioles, who won 101 games last year, 87 and 75, same record as the Rays, and the Red Sox are projected to finish last. Now, PECOTA gets it right a lot, but they do get it wrong as well. You can't really project injuries or anything like that, but the Yankees projected to have the second best record by half game in the American League East, only the Astros projected to have more.
I think that's very interesting, and if you're a Yankee fan, that's encouraging, but you said it best, Michael. The games aren't played on a computer. The games aren't played on paper. The Yankees would be the first to say that. To quote Aaron Boone from this spring training, he has said the Yankees have a chance to be a special team, but they have to go out and show it. So that's what's going on with the Yankees right now. Meredith has reported on this. You've mentioned it on your radio show, the building of a foundation of how so many Yankees showed up early in spring training, performing at the minor league complex to get themselves ready. I think all of that leads you into a team that could be a postseason team, but you have to go out and do it. Last year, the Yankees were projected to win almost 100 games, and they won 82. So those projections are interesting, and I think we all look at them and take what we want to take away from them, but the team has to go out and actually do it.
Well, last year at 82 and 80, as Jack mentioned, through June 4th, they were 36 and 25. So that projection looked like it was going to happen. But on June 3rd, Aaron Judge hurt his toe running into the wall at Dodger Stadium. Well, they finished 46 and 55. Can one man mean that much? Well, when it's Aaron Judge, it does mean a lot, combined with all the other injuries, Jack. It wasn't just Judge. It was Rizzo. It was Cortez. It was Rodon. A lot of significant players. Jose Trevino missed many games, and that led to 82 and 80.
And it was LeMahieu having a bad first half. It was Stanton having a bad first season. So when you lose your all-world player in Judge, the production has to come from somewhere else. Gleyber Torres produced, but there are the numbers, and some of them that you mentioned right there, Michael, go to the bottom. They had the best bullpen ERA in the majors, but that 82 and 80 record is not what the Yankees are expecting. That was their worst record since 1992. Hal Steinbrenner the other day said it was embarrassing. He said, I don't think there was one person in this organization who wasn't embarrassed. And he pointed out that 82 and 80 was a big motivation for the team to perform well in 24. And Michael, you talked about the Judge injury and that record. That record at that point was comparable to the Dodgers and the Astros. And so that shows you who the Yankees were at that point in the season, and then how far they fell after that.
And that third line on that graphic, the pitching held up. I mean, they really had to go deep into their depth, but they just didn't do it offensively. That's one of the reasons they made the trade for Soto. They didn't score runs. Their batting average was the second worst in baseball to the Oakland Athletics, and the A's weren't trying. So that's why they needed to bolster the offense. They got Verdugo sitting with Judge right there, and Soto as well, and they're getting back a healthy Judge and a healthy Rizzo.
Regarding their pitching, Cole was great. He won a Cy Young, and we see a walk there for Narvaez. Schmidt had a nice rookie season after a struggle, but the rest of their rotation I thought was disappointing. They ended up using 13 starting pitchers last year, and that sort of shows you heading into this season how important that depth is going to be, because you're always going to need more starters, and that's where someone like Luke Weaver or Clayton Beeter or Chase Hampton or Will Warren or Luis Heel, who pitched yesterday, all of those pitchers have a chance to be involved in what the 2024 Yankees are doing.
Well, Verdugo's day is over. Elijah Dunham at the plate, 0-1, with runners on first and second. You know, despite their struggles, on August 11th, they were 4 games out of the playoff spot. But then they lost 9 straight games, which was their worst streak since 1982, and that's when they fell out of it, although they did battle in September and October, 17-11 in those 2 overlapping months, and that gave them their 31st straight winning season. They have not had a losing season since 1993. So that's the second longest streak in baseball history. The Yankees own the first streak, 39 straight winning seasons from 1926 to 1964. And what the Yankees are hoping that 2023 was not 1965, because that started a run of some bad years for the Yankees. They don't think that that's exactly what it's going to be. This team looks stout.
They do, and I do believe this is a postseason team. We'll see how the season plays out. I think this is a team that will win 90-plus games. I think the addition of Soto is just so gargantuan to what they are trying to accomplish. Their offense needed help last year. They got that help in the form of Juan Soto. Here he goes up against Richards. And so far we've seen in his at-bats, as Aaron Boone said to us in the 4th inning, Michael, it's typical Juan Soto. He's going to make you throw strikes. He's going to hit the ball hard. He's going to dictate the at-bat.
Ground ball to second in the first, a walk, and a run scored in the third. That one is hit to deep left center field. That ball is gone off the scoreboard. A 3-run home run for Juan Soto, and the Yankees lead 7-1.
Talked to Paul O'Neill about Soto's power and whether he should try and change anything now that he's hitting at Yankee Stadium, and Paul said no, his power plays anywhere, And that's an example of that. That ball off the bat of a left-handed hitter, Michael, off the scoreboard. You would think that was a righty like Aaron Judge torpedoing that off the scoreboard.
I know it's cliche, but Jack, that's why they got him, for bats like that.
They're cliches for a reason. We had just said in terms of the at-bat against Richards that Soto dictates the at-bat, and he got a pitch that he was able to extend his arms on, and it's such easy power. The ability to go the other way. Watching some video that was posted on social media this week during one live pitching session, he did the same thing, just hitting a ball so easy and so smoothly the other way.
You know, one of the misconceptions is because he's a left-handed batter, he's going to take advantage of the short approach at the stadium. He's not a dead pull hitter. He does that a lot.
Yeah, and I think it would be a mistake for him to try and do that. We see one more look at it. Richards trying to go up and out against Soto, keeping the pitch away from him. Soto making him pay for it. One more look at it. I mean, that's just a blast, and I'm not sure if those folks out there were expecting that today. They probably should have been, because that's who Soto is as a hitter. And of course, once you hit the ball there, you get the American League's all-time single-season home run leader to give you an analysis of it, Michael.
Spencer Jones hitting for Judge. He had a 470-foot home run in Lakeland yesterday against the Tigers. 470 feet, and he's almost, people are referring to him as Aaron Judge Jr., you know, left-handed version. He's about the same height. He's got unbelievable speed. He's a plus-plus defender in center field. And you see what he did last year at 2 levels of the Yankee system. He loops that one into center field. Probably a broken bat, but he'll take it for a single.
And when the Yankees have had conversations with other teams, Michael, about potentially trying to add a pitcher, Spencer Jones's name comes up, and he is a player. Little change up there, almost like a knuckleball from Richards. That had a lot of movement on it. Jones stays with it, knocks it into center field. But even Hal Steinbrenner brought his name up along with Warren and Hampton, essentially saying, I'm loath to trade these younger players, these top prospects that the Yankees have.
Now, Pete Walker has seen enough of Trevor Richards, and the Yankees want to see more of Juan Soto. Ryan Boyer on in relief for the Blue Jays. First pitch to Anthony Rizzo, foul back, so the count 0-1. Runner on first, 3 runs in on the Juan Soto home run. I got some numbers, Jack. You ready?
Shoot.
110.1 miles per hour exit velo on Soto's home run, and it traveled 428 feet the other way. Numbers on Boyer in 3 levels last year. Punched out toward left field. On the run is Schneider, and he makes a nice backhand play on the dive. Loses his glasses, recovers, and that will do it. But not before the Yankees score 3 runs on that swing. Going the other way, off the scoreboard and right. Juan Soto bringing his big bat to the Bronx. Homering for 3 here in Tampa. Hey, welcome back to Yankee Spring Training, presented by Ford. Proud to be the official SUV of the New York Yankees. Loud home run by Juan Soto, giving the Yankees a 7-1 lead on the Cadillac scoreboard. Luke Weaver in for a second inning of work and drops a breaking ball strike in there, 0-1 against Baroa. And we talk about pitching depth, Jack. Luke Weaver, if you want to put numbers on things, he's a Yankee 6th pitcher.
He's their 6th starter. They'll do their best to keep him stretched out in spring training, but I think he becomes one of your pitchers out of the bullpen that can give you multiple innings. Really small sample size with the Yankees last year, but they liked what they saw. He's a kitchen sink pitcher. Fastball, changeup, cutter, curve, slider, sweeper. You're going to see it all from Weaver, and with all of those pitches, he's about deception, although his fastball is still going to be about 94. He's going to be able to go out there and give you some multiple innings, which I think is what the Yankees are looking for. They like the swing and miss ability, again, that they saw out of him last year in a small sample size.
Just missing out, Jack. there are two really good starting pitchers still out there on the free agent market. The reigning National League Cy Young Award winner, Blake Snell, and a guy who helped the Texas Rangers win a World Series, former Yankee Jordan Montgomery. Still out there, still available to anybody, as that one is driven into center field. Catch is made by Jones. And there are so many rumors out there. Could he be headed here? Could he be headed there? So many people float the Yankees that they're still in on a Snell. I know you're not just doing this game, you're working the phones between innings. What are you finding out about this?
Well, Michael, I've been asking about those two free agents for the entire offseason, and the latest word that I got about them and any connection to the Yankees is very unlikely that you would see a Snell or a Montgomery coming to an agreement with the Yankees. Earlier in the offseason, the Yankees did have an offer out to Snell. They pivoted and moved on with the rest of their offseason. They added Marcus Stroman. So the likelihood of Snell or Montgomery being in a Yankee uniform, very remote. I think you look at the fact that their agent is Scott Boras and he has to do his job. Of course, he's going to make phone calls to teams. Now, if the agent is initiating the phone call, you could then turn around and say that there was a discussion. But if the agent initiating the phone call and there isn't any traction going forward, that's telling you that a potential deal is unlikely.
Now, there was some movement with, they're calling them the Boris Five, as Cody Bellinger signed a 3-year, $80 million deal with the Cubs, who he was with last year. But there's opt-outs after the first and second year. That was a lot less than what was floated out there that they were looking for Bellinger. You wonder if the price for those pitchers is going to go down, too.
Every player is different. Every negotiation is different. But, Michael, I think you hit on something very important. If that's the path that Cody Bellinger went down, you do wonder if it's the path that someone like Blake Snell ends up going down, where you accept that version of a pillow contract and it's 3 years for X, but you do have the opt-outs after the first and second year, as reports are saying that Bellinger has, and that buys you the opportunity to be a free agent again next year. There's a lot to like about Snell as a pitcher. You mentioned it, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. A lot of dominance out of him last season. He also led the major leagues in walks. He's also a pitcher who is going to give you a shade above 5 innings per start. And in terms of durability, if you're paying someone $30+ million a year, you want someone like a Garrett Cole, who you know is going to give you close to 7 innings, who's going to give you those 200 innings a year. As we see the ground out there, Escobar to first base. I'm not sure Snell is that pitcher, and I think that's some of what he and his representatives have run into this offseason.
And one other thing to note, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the New York Mets are over the top threshold, which means that anything they spend is taxed at 110%. So if you sign, let's throw a number out there, Snell for $30 million a year, you're essentially paying $63 million for that player. So you have to judge, is that worth it? We'll talk about it more when we get back. We're halfway through it, 7-1 Yanks. From Steinbrenner Field as the Yankees take on the Minnesota Twins. Coverage starts at 1 on Yes and the Yes app. Your home for Yankees baseball. And remember, everybody, that if you get Yes on TV, then you get the Yes app for free. Download it now and don't miss a single pitch. And mark it down in your calendar. Yankees opening day is March 28th against the Astros in Houston. And obviously, we will be there and be all over it. Bottom of the 5th inning at Steinbrenner Field. Durbin at the plate against Cook. Pitches high, 1-0. Connor Cook, 5th pitcher by the Blue Jays.
Michael, buttoning up the Snell discussion, and I'm glad you brought up the tax issues, because Hal Steinbrenner brought them up when he spoke to reporters this week. He said that he will consider anything that Brian Cashman and his crew, his staff, bring to him, but he did mention where the Yankees are in terms of luxury tax position. And you're right, if you consider someone like Snell a $30 million pitcher and he can contribute to you at that level, Do you consider him a $63 million pitcher? That's a lot more difficult to swallow. So I think in terms of improving, the Yankees are always trying to do that, and they're always looking. I don't believe that you'll end up seeing them looking too deep into Snell and Montgomery.
There's a strike. 2-2.
Interesting about the Blue Jays, we talk about starters. They had 4 starters last year who made 30 or more starts. That is a manager and a pitching coach's dream. And the Blue Jays had that in Bassett, Barrios, Gausman, and Kikuchi.
What is Mattingly doing with the beard? Talk to me, Jack. What's
I knew
he
my
doing?
point was going to die as soon as we went to the beard.
I'm telling you.
I know the beard is bothering you. You can text Donnie.
I mean, Donnie and I are the same age. I mean, he makes himself look so old with that. Come on, Donnie.
And he doesn't look old.
No, he looks really young.
He's a very hip guy, yes.
I've got to talk to him, see what it's all about.
I think you and O'Neill, maybe get Coney in the mix. I don't know. I'm staying out of this one. I'm going to let you fight that fight.
Yeah, I'm willing to fight that fight for Don Mattingly. Now, most, I wouldn't say most.
No, I'm staying out of this one. I'm going to let you fight that fight.
Yeah, I'm willing to fight that fight for Don Mattingly. Now, most, I wouldn't say most, but many days in spring training, they split the squads and they play in other places. And Meredith, there's another game going on. Why don't you give us the update on that and also about Mattingly's beard, if you would?
Yeah, let's get to that first because we'll put a bow on that. He's already been talked to by some former Yankees. Tino Martinez is in attendance today, as is Bernie Williams, and they saw Mattingly at the cage and came right over to him, of course, saying hello, catching up. But that beard was certainly topic of conversation. And Michael, I have a feeling they're on your side. They're not sure why he did it. As far as the split squad is concerned, the Yankees are in Philadelphia, in Clearwater as well, playing the Phillies. They're losing there 4-0. Marcus Stroman, though, saw his first action as a Yankee. He went 2 1/3, allowed 2 earned runs on 4 hits, threw 52 pitches. Also notable, Ron Marinaccio threw in that one. He's a guy that could be a valuable piece of the bullpen. When I spoke to Marinaccio earlier this spring, he had said last year he just felt like he could never fully get healthy and get in a rhythm, and is in a much better place coming into this spring and into this season. As far as here at GMS in the backfield, field 2, Garrett Cole was throwing a live session, 3 ups for him. Ian Hamilton threw as well. Jose Trevino was over there hitting. Michael, you noted that his season ended early due to wrist surgery. His wrist is completely healed. He did tweak his calf a little bit prior to report day, but he's doing all baseball activity and he's expecting to hopefully get in some games next week. He said that little calf tweak, maybe it was a good thing because he was so fired up to get back out there. Maybe he was pushing it a little bit too far, but certainly someone that the Yankees are counting on at the catcher position. And we have the game tomorrow, and it looks like DJ LeMahieu's going to see action, Giancarlo Stanton, and most likely Juan Soto will play again.
Well, I mean, you want to see more of Soto, Meredith. You fall under a trance when you watch a player that special, and the Yankees got this player. And you mentioned it earlier, and every time you talk to a Yankee, every interview you do, I mean, they gush about this guy. And Meredith, these are major league players who are the best at what they do, and they look at Juan Soto and they see something that's just different.
One of the best in the league. And Michael, he looks so relaxed here. Day 1 of workouts, he was standing at third base pretending to give signs. And then the other day, he was having a little bit of fun with Aaron Judge. Soto did his patented Soto shuffle in the batter's box, and then Aaron Judge steps in there, does the same thing. Didn't quite look the same, but it's clear he's fitting in quite nicely with this Yankee squad.
All right, thanks, Meredith. We'll get back to you a little bit later on. 1-2 count on Josh Van Meter, 7-1 Yankees. 2-2.
I'm going to give you a chance to make up to Donnie, because in case he's mad at you about the beard, Michael. With Mauer getting into the Hall of Fame, it certainly opens up the conversation again about Don Mattingly, because I have a Hall of Fame vote. I am a Hall of Fame voter. I voted for Mauer. But if you compare Mauer's career, including being a shooting star whose career stagnated because of injury and he had to move position. There's a lot of similarities between Mauer and Mattingly.
Well, then I've got to ask you the obvious question. You voted for Mauer. Did you vote for Mattingly?
I was working at the New York Times at that point, and they had restricted the ability of their writers to vote. So at that point, I did not have a vote. And those are some glossy numbers, more than 2,100 hits. I think the thing with Mattingly, Michael, as shocking as this is, I think the Gold Gloves almost get ignored. I think people don't talk about that enough.
Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Van Meter down on strikes. I think the same thing with Keith Hernandez. Another guy that would be right on the precipice of being a Hall of Famer. But, you know, you look at Mauer and another Minnesota Twin. If you look at the numbers of Kirby Puckett, who did win 2 World Series. Mauer did not. He won 2 World Series. Donnie never got to a World Series. But the numbers with Puckett and Mattingly are remarkably similar.
I think the postseason heroics, as you said, are a big part of Puckett and his entry into the Hall of Fame. But it would have to be a veteran committee situation with Don Mattingly, and those are not easy. That's even trickier and more difficult than the regular voting by the writers. We'll see what the future holds, but obviously an illustrious career for Mattingly.
Another Yankee captain will get a longer look with these veteran committees, and that's Thurman Munson. A lot of people think that there's a chance he could get in as well, but time will tell. 1-1 count on last year's first-round draft pick, George Lombard Jr., shortstop. His dad, a former big league player.
And his father is the bench coach for the Tigers, who they... Oh, scratch that, Michael.
Oh, Ben Rice, yeah. The scoreboard is indeed wrong. But George is in the game, so we'll tell you when he does come up.
A lot of times the Yankees will just go position for position.
Yeah,
So
and
since
Boone
Lombard
really messed us
Jr.
up.
is taking over for Kevin Smith, it would have been Lombard Jr. in this spot. Instead, it's Ben Rice, who put up really good numbers at 3 levels last year for the Yankees.
Really going to have to talk to Aaron Boone. You know, Mattingly has a new title this year with the Blue Jays. Not just the bench coach, he's the offensive coordinator.
Wow.
Yeah, offensive coordinator.
So do you think he'll go with the option? Do you think he'll run the...
Right out of the shotgun. Check swing did not go, according to Ramon Ortiz, 3-2. Ben, 12th round pick in 21 out of Dartmouth. Last year, 20 home runs in 73 games. Missed time with an oblique strain. Catcher, plays first base. Kid from Massachusetts.
He's probably your AAA first baseman this year, I would think. And Yankees love that he gets the ball in the air, although he didn't do it right there.
And the Yankees go down in order. 1-2-3 against Connor Cook. We'll go to the 6th. Do you see the score? 7-1 Donnie Shave, please. Yankees spring training on Yes is presented by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Just a beautiful Sunday. Look at that. It's a postcard. Anthony Misevich, the new Yankee pitcher, their 4th pitcher. A check swing by Daniel Vogelbach. Count 0. Well, they say he won around 0-1. No one misses outside. 1-1.
Misevich, couple of games with the Yankees last year. You see his numbers with Detroit and the Yankees. He is cutter, fastball, curveball, slider.
Ground ball, second base. Durbin over to Rice. 1 away.
Tell me if you agree with me here, Michael.
I always agree.
I think there's 4 types of players in spring training. I think there are veterans who know they have their job locked up, so they're coming into spring training. And though everyone wants to have stats that matter, they're there really to get their work done. There are guys who are in that veteran or young position who are fighting for jobs, so the stats matter to them. There are minor leaguers or non-roster invitees who are kind of have a chance to make the roster, so they're fighting as well. And then you have the lower level minor league guys who may be single, double A. They're just hoping that they can impress. Am I forgetting anybody? Is that the 4 types?
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely levels of angst and preparedness. I mean, when you're a young guy trying to make the team or trying to impress, you're coming in, you can't afford to allow yourself to get into shape in spring training. But I don't think players do that anymore. I mean, the old days, you know, Yogi Berra and Phil Rizzuto had to work in bowling alleys and haberdasheries during the offseason to supplement their income. Now, you're a baseball player 12 months a year, and you can afford to get ready.
It really has changed. I had a conversation with Anthony Volpe's dad in the offseason. I want to say it was December. And the Yankee season ended, we know, probably 2 months earlier. And he said his son pretty much hadn't had a day off yet. That the offseason working out was that important to what he wanted to do in 2024.
David Schneider works a walk against Misevich. Time to check out today's injury report, brought to you by Montefiore Einstein, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Jason Dominguez slowly coming back from Tommy John surgery, expected to begin from hitting from the right side tomorrow. Jose Trevino, Meredith spoke about him. Lou Trevino, Tommy John recovery expected out until midseason. And Scott Effross had back surgery after arm surgery last year, and he is expected back midseason as well. And if you want to be a glass half full guy, you know, having Effross and Trevino come back in the middle of the year, it's like making a trade for 2 really stout bullpen pitchers.
And that's what the Yankees are hoping for. When they traded for Effross, they really thought that he could be a linchpin part of that bullpen. They've yet to see it. But you're right, Michael. Their bullpen's in pretty good shape right now. I think there's probably only one spot that may be open that we'll see some different pitchers contending for. But then if you can get Effross and Trevino, you're adding 2 quality arms.
And one of the arms that the Yankees wanted to bring back, Wandy Peralta, he's now with the Padres. I think they certainly made an attempt. When the Padres gave him a 4-year deal, they didn't want to go there. There's a lot of opt-outs in the deal, but the opt-outs are only for the player. They're not for the team. So, you know, God forbid you get hurt, you just keep picking up those opt-outs, and it's all guaranteed money. So no one wants to do that with a relief pitcher, a 4-year guarantee for a guy who's a specialty pitcher, and they love Wandy Peralta.
They loved Peralta. They definitely had conversations about him. Keenan Middleton, who was with them last year, that was another bullpen arm that they talked about. They were inaccurately connected with Hector Neris. That was never something that was going to come to fruition. But you're right, a 4-year deal that Peralta got from San Diego, I don't think the Yankees are going to match that.
Another guy the Yankees reportedly had some conversation with, Gio Urshela, but they could not guarantee him any kind of playing time. If no one gets hurt, there's not much playing time in that infield. And, you know, he was able to almost get a promise that you'd be the starting third baseman for the Tigers. So he signed there at a very reasonable price of $1.5 million. But again, that wasn't a case of being outbid, Jack. That was a case of, we can't say you're going to get 400 at-bats.
Right, DJ LeMahieu is their third baseman. He's going to get the bulk of the at-bats. Right now, I would say that your bench looks like whoever you're deciding is the backup catcher. Let's say Wells, Grisham, Cabrera, and Peraza. So that's where the Yankees are looking at right now, with Peraza getting some of those at-bats moving around the infield.
Good break on that breaking ball by Misevich as Martinez swings over the top, 0-1.
Michael, real quickly, while Misevich is on the mound and you see the resetting of the Yankee defense there, we have to mention what he endured last year in late September, pitching against the Pirates in Pittsburgh. He's the Yankee hurler who had a line drive by the Pirates' Bay off his head. 100-mile-per-hour line drive off of his head. He was taken to the hospital. He went on the IL, concussion IL. Very, very thankfully, he ended up being okay. But the ball hit him in the left side of his head, and he was flat on the ground, rolled over in pain. Misevich back out there on the mound. It's every pitcher's fear. He experienced it, but he's back there again trying to show the Yankees he can be a contributor in 24.
I just always used to ask our former colleague, Al Leiter, how do you pitch through that fear? He said, you can't even think about it. If you do, there will be too much fear. So you just have to take it out of your mind about getting hit with a comebacker. because they throw so hard. The batters are so strong, and 60 feet 6 inches is the rubber to the plate. But by the time you deliver, you're about 50 feet from the catcher. And if you have a guy like Giancarlo Stanton at the plate, that's a dangerous spot to be.
Yeah, this is a great shot showing exactly what you're talking about. No matter what your reaction time is, if something's coming at you 100 miles an hour, you're in trouble.
3-2. So Snyder will be going from first base. 3-2 and 2 outs. We're in the bottom, or top of the 6th, shall I say. 7-1 Yankees. Then he missed outside, so 2 walks by Misevich. Hayden Yinger will be pitching for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yankees used 32 pitchers last year, Michael. So as you and I have talked about the rotation and maybe what bullpen spot or spots might be open, a lot of the players that are in that clubhouse today, they'll find their way to the major leagues at some point. Now, of those 32 pitchers, I believe a couple were position players. I think IKF and Josh Donaldson both pitched. But still, it just shows you you're going to need a lot of arms. A lot of people are going to have to contribute.
Well, Jack, the average team last year, the average team used 13 starting pitchers. Now, that's a little bit skewed because there's some openers in there as well. And there was an average of 41 starts by pitchers who were not in the team's top 5 in starts. So you're going to use a lot of arms.
So think about that. A quarter of your season is going to be someone who, for the most part, is a 6th, 7th, or 8th starter.
Yep.
In some instances, there might have been someone who came in and was a hot shot at the minor league level and is better than a number 5, but you're going to need a lot of depth to get through a major league season.
Two and 2.
I'm shocked that it's his 3rd at bat, and the chicken parm connoisseur that you are, that you haven't done anything with his name. You have not done anything.
I honor the name. As he goes down on strikes, and that will do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees up by 6. Your local Ford stores. There's an engine that drives this team. Ford is proud to be the official SUV of the Yankees. Having a good time. The first of 25 Yes broadcasts from spring training. Over 70% of the spring training schedule will be right here on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network. The whole gang is ready to roll. Jack and I will be back tomorrow for the Yankees and the Twins. Hayden Yinger. That's his season in AAA last year. 54 games, 5 starts. More than a strikeout per inning. There's a strike.
Michael, if I was still a baseball writer, a guy like J.C. Escarra is someone that one day I would go up to and would want to write a profile on him, because he turns 29 in April. To this point in his career, and you see his numbers in his last affiliate season, but to this point in his career, he's played 58 games at the AAA level. He's never played at the major league level, but he has continued to try and pursue this dream. And I always want to know the story behind the story. What motivates you? What drives you? What's keeping you going? What made you play in Gastonia, North Carolina in an independent league? What made you go to Mexico? And I'm sure he's saying, I believe I can play at this level. I believe I can succeed at this level. And he's driven to try and prove that. It was the independent league, but last year, as an independent league player, 15 homers in 41 games.
There are instances of players getting that chance in their 30s, but they are few and far between. So the odds are stacked against you after a certain age.
I think the Yankees probably look at him as minor league depth right now, but as you said, you never know. If you do your job to a certain level and impress enough people, you try and open up some eyes.
You know, it's interesting in the older day, you know, when we first started in the business, you know, you'd be at spring training sites, which were essentially are the A-ball team. And you can see that they were, you know, some minor leagues. You know, I was down at the beginning of spring training. The Yankee clubhouse, they have put together a renovation. It is on a level of any major league clubhouse, and that's an A-ball team. The Tampa Tarpons play there. And I remarked to somebody, I said, what A-ball player is going to want to be promoted to Double-A? I mean, send me to the big leagues, but the clubhouse that they have built in Tampa right now is about the same as what they have in the Bronx for the Yankees. It's that good.
What was the improvement that stood out to you the most?
Yeah, I'm so silly about stuff like this. From the ceiling, they had the interlocking MY, you know, cut out lights, and it just you look like you're on a Yankee spaceship. And then the lockers are all first rate. It's an unbelievable job. They're doing an entire renovation of the facility, which opened up in 1996, but that is impressive, and I think it'll get the eyes of a lot of players. That was driven deep to right field. There it goes. See ya. A home run for Torrens, and the Yankees lead 8-1. Luis Torrens, his first at bat, taken over behind the plate from Narvaez, and Torrens gives the Yankees a 7-run lead.
Some opposite field power from Torrens right there. Yankees adding him in the offseason. Actually started his career as a Yankee. They signed him way back in 2012. They lost him in the Rule 5 draft in 2017, but he's back now in the Yankee organization.
Vincent Dunham is inside.
Yankees have a lot of catchers. Wells and Trevino, obviously Ben Rortvedt. We talked about Narvaez. Torrens in the mix as well.
Torrens hit a home run yesterday in Lakeland as well.
Get somebody to notice. That's what I was saying during Escara's at bat. That's what you're doing if you're Torrens. He's played at the major league level.
Also caught the eye of the Yankees in terms of athleticism. He won their ping pong tournament. I bet you're good at ping pong. You seem like that type.
I'm going to be honest. I have certain skills in life. I would not say ping pong is one of them.
Really? Surprising.
Pop-a-shot. I'll go head-to-head with someone in pop-a-shot. Heather Smith beat me in ping pong. One of our colleagues.
Really?
Heather Smith at one of our holiday parties. Mike Medvin, another colleague, crushed me.
You have good hand-eye. Surprised. Slipping, Jack.
I know. I'll go pop-a-shot.
Strike 3. Dunham down looking. So 2 away. Now this was the spot that Soto inhabited for the first 3 times. He was 0 for 1 with a walk and a booming opposite field home run. And now it's Oscar Gonzalez at the plate. What a debut for Soto.
Terrific. What the Yankees are expecting from him, those quality at-bats. Obviously, you can't hit a home run every at-bat. Don't take me literally. But in terms of the at-bat quality, you could see it from day one that he is going to dictate at-bats. He is not going to chase. He is going to make pitchers throw strikes. And also, when pitchers are loath to walk you, they are going to throw pitches like the one Richards did, throwing something up and out, and Soto's going to crush it and take it out of the ballpark.
Gonzalez hits one off the glove of Palmaggiani, and that goes into right field. I think they replaced Parmigiani at first, but let's take a look at that Soto home run.
Yeah, we talk about Soto's ability, Michael, to go the other way, and it's just easy opposite field power. Richards trying to go out with that strike, and Soto turned it into a 428-foot bullet of a home run. And again, I mentioned this earlier. I talked to Paul O'Neill about when he came to Yankee Stadium. One more look at it. Just a majestic swing.
You knew it.
By the way, I talked to Paul O'Neill on my podcast, Yankees News and Views, and we talked about Juan Soto, and he did a great breakdown of Soto's stance, his swing. So check that out. But one of the things we talked about was, do you try and change your swing at Yankee Stadium? And did you try to do that, meaning O'Neill? And O'Neill said Mattingly came up to him when he first got traded to the Yankees and said, you're a line drive hitter. You hit to all fields. Don't change what you do at Yankee Stadium. Your swing will play here. And Paul said once Mattingly said it, he goes, that was gospel to me.
0-2 on Jones. Jones, bloop single to center. He was 3 for 3 yesterday, including a 470-foot home run, one of the Yankees' top prospects. And also a very good base stealer. Let's look at the tail of the tape. He's just an inch shorter than Judge. Judge weighs 282, Jones 235. Judge from the right side, Jones from the left side. There was a picture of them standing in the outfield yesterday, and he's one of the few guys that Judge doesn't like a giant against.
Meredith interviewed him in the offseason. We played it on one of our hot stove shows. He was working out in Vanderbilt with other professional players. But the one thing not to sleep on with Jones, too, Michael, is the speed. Over 40 stolen bases at the minor league level last year.
Chopped slowly up the first baseline and mishandled by Yinger, allowing Jones to reach.
I'm not sure if the speed was a factor there. It might have been. I think Yinger obviously here is trying to get to the ball and sweep the tag before that ball was going to roll foul, because it was going to roll foul. And good job by Jones hustling down the line. You see that ball was curving foul, and Yinger can't handle it. That's got to be an E1.
They give him a base hit, so he's 5 for 5. And a pitching change for the Blue Jays. First and second, 2 men out. We go to the pen. We'll come back. This season's home schedule includes some great promotional giveaways and is highlighted by interleague games against the Dodgers, Braves, and Cardinals, as well as the annual Subway Series against the Mets. For more information and to get your 2024 Yankee tickets, visit Yankees.com today. Judge looks so serious there.
Serious business, Michael. They're trying to win a championship. What did Aaron Boone say? Hell-bent on winning a championship.
So the Blue Jays bring in their 7th pitcher. This is Andrew Bash. And you know who he's going to face? The long-awaited George Lombard Jr.
Former Yankee first-round draft pick. We mentioned his dad is the bench coach for the Detroit Tigers. There's a lot of baseball to talk about with Lombard Jr., Bob. I did it twice,
you know
Michael.
What?
I just got to quit.
It's a fine jar tomorrow.
I'm telling you. But family history, not only his dad as the bench coach for the Tigers, his great-grandfather was the Harvard Business School dean for 41 years, and his grandmother was a civil rights activist who marched alongside Martin Luther King Jr.
1-1.
So when you're telling the story of George Lombard Jr., you're going to tell a lot of baseball, but there's a lot of family accomplishments off the field as well.
That's some interesting stuff, Paul.
I love it. I look more like Coney than Paul, though. Paul's a...
Oh, I get it, but I don't look anything like Lorenz.
That's true. Yeah, you got me there. But you guys are similar in stature, size-wise, about as tall. Paul's 6'3", 225.
Lorenz is not 6'4".
No, he's not.
And a walk to Lombard to load the bases.
How many spring trainings is this for you, Michael?
As a broadcaster, it was my 33rd, and then there was 5 years before that as a writer, so 38. How about you?
1991 was the first one, so 33. Because you count them as seasons, so yes, 33.
Durbin wraps one off of the shortstop, and it trickles into center field. Gonzalez scores to make it 9-1. The bases remain loaded. Well, the defense didn't pick up Bass. That has to be a play that has to be made.
Nice job by Jones. Rounding and scoring on that.
So that's 10-1. So 2 runs scored on that. Here's Groshans. Wouldn't it have been great if his number was 11? Groshans 11.
Oh, I love it. That's where we're going at this point, huh? All right. I love it. The fact that you had to explain that to me is almost as good as my Tallahassee for Francis. Michael, when we talk about the Yankees and players showing up early, I always think it's important to reinforce for those who haven't been to Tampa, the Yankees minor league complex is a stone's throw from the major league complex. So the fact that they have the minor league complex there, so many coaches available in the offseason, the facilities available, it's a great invitation to players to go down and get yourself ready for the season. I remember talking to Derek Jeter about that was one of the reasons he moved to Tampa. Now think about this, Jeter becoming a Hall of Famer. He once told me that part of the reason he moved to Tampa and wanted to be in front of the coaches as often as possible was if there was ever a time where he and another player were even, he wanted them to give him the edge because he was down there working in front of them so often.
Along those lines, one of the reasons so many players come down is that Aaron Judge now makes his offseason home in Tampa. So he's there every single day. So if the captain is there every single day, then all of a sudden Carlos Rodon shows up at the beginning of January. A lot of the other players have places in Tampa as well for that reason. Runners go 3-2, fouled away.
DJ LeMahieu had never spent as much time in Tampa as he did this offseason. Not in the lineup today, but Aaron Boone has talked about how explosive LeMahieu looks, and you could just see in his legs that he looks leaner. That toe injury that had stalled him, a thing of the past, and the Yankees are hoping for the second half LeMahieu, who had a .370 on base percentage.
Swing and a miss. Groshans down on strikes, but the Yankees had 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 big error, and 2 men left. We go to the 7th. A month to the Tunnel to Towers Foundation at T2T.org. We go to the 7th inning, 10-1 Yankees. Big home run by Juan Soto. And of course, Meredith Marakovits has Juan Soto downstairs.
Thanks, Michael. Juan, first time in pinstripes, and boy, did you impress already. A walk and a big home run. Were you trying to give Yankees fans a thrill this afternoon?
I mean, it's great to be back and great to be part of this. I mean, it's a great team. It's a great feeling to be out there with the guys and enjoy the moment.
Look, it's just spring training, but was there added excitement out there as names were announced and you're running out on the field?
it's a great feeling. Like you say, it's still spring training, but it's a great feeling to get to know the fans and everything and how it's going to be up there in New York.
Garrett Cole has talked about it. Aaron Boone has talked about it. How well you control the strike zone and how you see pitches out of pitchers' hands. What do you think makes you so good at that?
I mean, I've been training since day one when I was in rookie ball. So, my eyes and everything. And it's just been getting better and better every year. I think I'm trying to improve it. Even until now, I'm still working on my strike zone every time I go to the cage. So that's how I do it, and that's how I keep training for the season.
Do you have any personal goals here in 2024?
I said it before. As I'm in an American League now, I wanted to finish all 30 ballparks, to hit a homer in all 30 ballparks, and I'm missing like 6 or 7, so that's my goal for this year.
Something tells me you have as good a chance as anyone of accomplishing that goal, Juan. As far as spring training is concerned, how many at-bats do you feel like you need to be ready for the season?
I really need as much as I can. I'm one of the guys that likes to take a lot of bats and take their hacks every time. Everybody's different, but for me, I need as much as I can to, first of all, keep training my strike zone, and to get the power to get to up there in New York.
Juan, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Michael, back up to you.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you, Juan. I need that sweatshirt. I want Meredith to find out where Juan bought it. That's what I want. Wear that to the home opener underneath the suit.
That's what you're going to go for?
Yeah.
It's a snazzy look. I think Juan can carry it off. I'm going to see if you can carry it off as well.
Well, you sound somewhat dubious, as a hit by pitch puts runners on first and second. Let's take a look at Soto's home run again. The Yankees are hoping this is the first of many, many home runs.
Yeah, Garrett Richards knew, Soto knew, everyone in the Yankee dugout knew. And then the celebration ensues.
There it is. There's that sweatshirt. It's really hard to wrap your mind around the fact he's just 25 years old. His numbers do not reflect a 25-year-old. There's some guys that get called up to the big leagues at 25. He's already won a world championship. And now the Yankees are hoping he adds another.
And Aaron Judge, who's going to hit behind him in the order, he made his major league debut when he was 24. So you're right, Soto being 25 at this point and having put up all of those numbers. The 946 OPS stands out. The 421 on base percentage stands out. All of those walks. And I love the answer that he gave to Meredith about the pitch recognition. And another hit batsman from Gerber. Just about that's the way he's trained himself from a young age, to know the strike zone, to be disciplined.
Also interesting, Meredith said, how many at-bats do you need? He goes, I need a lot. And you could see by the way the first 3 innings played out. Verdugo had 2 at-bats. He did not come out for the third. He did not come out for the third inning. But Soto stayed in so that he could actually hit in the fourth. So Juan Soto, age 25, debuted in 2018. These are guys that are older than Soto. Adley Rutschman just got to big leagues a couple of years ago. Luis Robert Jr., George Kirby, Jeremy Pena of the Astros, Shane McClanahan, Josh Young. He's younger than 3 prospects on the 2024 Major League pipeline. So he is he's accomplished at a very, very young age.
Our graphics crew does a great job. They may have just dropped the mic right there, Michael. For spring training, that's one of the best graphics you'll see all year long, because it puts into perspective just who Soto is.
Base hit right field. 1 run scores. And they hold him up at third, so still bases loaded. And now it's 10-2. Yankees lead.
Gerber, who is on the mound, has not pitched in the major league since 2020. 17 games that year with Seattle. The Yankees signed him in July of 2022. He was having Tommy John surgery, but they thought enough of his arm that they were willing to wait. And now he's back and ready to pitch, and so far it's been a rough sled this inning.
So Soto's age 25 season, right? It's his 7th big league season. Judge's age 25 season. That's when he won Rookie of the Year.
Another way of putting it in perspective.
Yeah, you see that a lot with players that did go to college, and Judge went to Fresno State, so you get out of college at an older age, and then you have to start in the minor leagues just as you do if you signed as an 18-year-old. Now, you might not be there as long, but these are the two guys that are going to play back-to-back in the Yankee lineup. The on-base percentage best in baseball for Soto since 18, and Judge has the most home runs since 2017. There's a walk to Clark that forces in a run. It's been a very rough 7th inning for Joey Gerber. And the bases remain loaded.
Well, if you're 19 years old, you're sometimes a college freshman, maybe a college sophomore. Juan Soto was already in the major leagues, and you think about other players who got to the major leagues at that age. I know there are a lot more, but the ones that I think about, Ken Griffey Jr., Mickey Mantle, Dwight Gooden, and what they accomplished, and in some cases could have accomplished. It just shows you get there at that age for a reason.
One and one.
Alex Rodriguez was a few weeks shy of his 19th birthday when he debuted. He was 18.
Well, you know who's on that track? It's Jason Dominguez. Very young when he got called up last year before he hurt his elbow. They're expecting him back sometime mid-season, maybe a little early. Two and two.
He debuted at 20.
Strike three. Robertson down looking. One away. You know, Juan Soto is going to play half of his games at Yankee Stadium, and Jack, he seems like he likes playing at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, he's been able to pile up in a small sample size some nice numbers at Yankee Stadium, and you take a look at where these home runs have traveled, and as we mentioned earlier, it's not as if he's some dead pull hitter. He is going to hit the baseball to all fields. That final one with the Padres happened in May of last season.
Well, that's going to do it for Gerber. He departs, and Boone goes to the bullpen. A selection of official jerseys, caps, T-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your Yankees at MLBshop.com. Blaine Abeda comes on, inherits bases loaded, one man out. At Double-A last year. Not a strikeout per inning.
Just re-emphasizing a point we made earlier, Michael, about the influx of Yankee players, both at the major and minor league level, who were in Tampa this offseason. Kevin Reese, the senior director of player development, who would know better than anyone because he's down there every day, said this was more players than the Yankees have had in any time that he has been with the organization. So I do think 82 and 80, I think it resonates. I think it resonates in a way that you don't want to have that feeling again.
2 and 2.
And also, if your job was offering you the opportunity to get better, and there were facilities and instructors and everything about your job that could make you better was in that location, why wouldn't you want to be there?
Fly ball, left center field. That might clear the bases. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Slide at home plate. He's going to get in, so it does clear the bases. And the Blue Jays working their way back into this game now. It's 10-6. Bases clearing double by Rodin.
Yeah, Beta brought into a difficult position. Breaking pitch right there. Not fooling Rodin. He takes it into the gap. Spencer Jones collecting it, but as you say, bases were cleared.
Ground ball is short. They'll go to first, get the second out as Rodin moves to third. You mentioned a place to get better. A lot of people don't even know this. It hasn't been publicized. But yes, as a play-by-play workshop during the offseason, any day you can walk in here. I could be here. Ruco, Iron Eagle, happens all the time. Chris Sheeran, always working on stuff.
This is I've been here since 2010. I'm unaware of this play-by-play workshop.
Oh, you should. Well, you don't really do play-by-play.
But I am a reporter. I like to ferret things out. I think I would have stumbled across that play-by-play workshop.
Very stealth.
Very stealth?
Very stealth.
Michael, I actually did do some play-by-play back at Fordham.
I remember that.
So if you ever needed me to carry you for an inning, I'm willing to pinch hit.
I'm willing to allow you.
I guess I got to go to the workshop.
You should. It's a great workshop. Well, the Blue Jays put some runs on the board. It's time for the 7th inning stretch at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Yankees leading this one 10-6, but we'll stay right here as they honor America in Tampa.
Ladies and gentlemen, today the New York Yankees are honoring and recognizing all the brave men and women of our armed forces. So please direct your attention to the Yankees' first base dugout and welcome Lieutenant Colonel Travis McCracken of the United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel McCracken has been deployed numerous times, including recently to Iraq and Afghanistan. He is currently assigned to the United States Special Operations Command at MacDill Air Force Base. And we also want to welcome Captain Teresa McCracken. Captain McCracken served in the United States Army from 1998 to 2003. She served in Germany and was deployed as part of Operation Desert Fox. The New York Yankees welcome Lieutenant Colonel Travis McCracken and his wife, Captain Teresa McCracken, who are our military honorees of the game, and say thank you to all of our brave men and women for their services and sacrifices for our country. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask you to rise and remove your caps for the playing of God Bless America.
Check out the Acura scoring summary. 10-11-1 for the Yanks, 6-4-1 for the Blue Jays. Francis, 2 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs. Kirk had a home run. Carlos Rodon won 2 2/3, rung up 5 strikeouts. And Juan Soto, first game in pinstripes, 1 for 2, a long 3-run home run the other way, 2 runs scored, and a walk. We're going to the bottom of the 7th inning at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Yankees trying to go to 2-0. And Jimmy Burnett, see what he did in AA and AAA last year. Montefiore Einstein scoreboard, 10-6, Yankees lead. Ben Rice. Last year at the end of the year, a lot of the Yankee players talked about the flow of information from an organization that is obviously heavily into analytics, and that doesn't make it a standalone organization. All teams in baseball are heavily into analytics. Some might be more, but none of them ignore it. It's all a big part of the game. It's not going away. But the way the players were interpreting it or given that information, some of them felt it needed to be clearer. Well, they've hired a new analytics guy, and this guy is Aaron Leanhart. And talk about a resume. He has a doctorate from MIT. He was 7 years as a physics professor at the University of Michigan. He also has a coaching background as well, as that one's lined to short, one away. And the Yankees think that they found a guy that is going to be able to disseminate the information in the way that the players feel comfortable. But this is an important addition.
Hal Steinbrenner referenced him during his session with reporters in saying that the Yankees have added a conduit of disseminating the information from the organization to the player. And I know in talking to someone like David Cohn, Michael, who is as savvy about analytics as anyone who broadcasts games, sometimes you have a player who wants 100% of the information that you're ready to give to them. Some players want 10%. I think you have to make that distinction. And this gentleman that you mentioned is going to be that go-between from the organization to the players to try and make sure that that process is smoother.
You know, there are so many, I'm not even going to use the word smart, brilliant people in baseball. This is a man that went to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the greatest universities in the entire world, sending out people that like invent things that change lives. And there are a lot of those guys in front offices throughout baseball, Jack. It's amazing.
It is amazing, and the intelligence that exists in every organization is at a high level, and you want to have the smartest people in the room. You want to have the smartest baseball people, as Scaris skies this one to right field. See, I told you I could do some play-by-play.
I think you've been at the seminars.
I was at the workshop.
Yeah.
I always go back to this, though, Michael. Couple things. First of all, you and I have had this discussion. If analytics were just called information, it wouldn't have the sometimes negative attachment that it has to it. That's A, because all you're doing is providing information. I do think the way it's disseminated and the way it's used from organization to organization, you have to make sure that works. The Yankees have been kind enough in the past to talk to us about some of their behind the scenes analytics decisions and opened up the window, so to speak, and it's illuminating at the amount of information that you have. And what analytics are is you're trying to have a predictive element to what the outcome might be, and you want to put yourself in the best position to get to that outcome. That being said, I always go back to what Gene Michael said. He held up a sheet of stats in front of me once, and he said, all this is very important. And then he pointed to his two eyes and he said, these are very important too. So I think there has to be a mixture.
I will tell you this. I don't know about your mom and dad. If Charles and Rose Kay sent me to MIT and I said I want to be a coach in baseball, it wouldn't have happened. They would have said, no, I don't think that's happening. Not if you just went to MIT, but it's just a different world now.
Well, his resume is thus that this might be the new challenge that he wants to conquer.
He was a hitting coach in the lower levels of the Yankee system for 2 years. He coached at Dawson Community College in Montana, so he has a baseball background. That's a name that you might not hear a lot, but it's going to be a really important person in the Yankee universe as Torrens goes down on strikes. So the Yankees are retired in order 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go to the 8th inning. 10-6 Yanks. Welcome back to Yankee Spring Training presented by Ford, proud to be the official SUV of the New York Yankees. We go to the 8th inning. Yankees up by 4. And there's a strike. Devontae Brown at the plate. All right, so Carlos Rodon got the start today, went 2 2/3, rung up 5 strikeouts, gave up a run, and he's downstairs with Meredith Marakovitz outside the Yankee clubhouse.
Carlos, first time out there this spring. What do you take away from that one?
Just trying to go out there and compete, make some pitches, get outs, take it like a normal start. Obviously, it's abbreviated 3 ups, 3 innings, and just, go out there and compete. That's it.
You had spoken in the clubhouse that second inning, maybe a pacing issue that Garrett brought to your attention.
Yeah, it's just, the game, just getting back into the game feels, working out of the stretch. Garrett had a little bit of insight of, how much time I can take in between pitches. It seemed like I'd get the ball back and on the mound and throw, just quick pace. So I took that into account going into third. So some good insight from Garrett. He's pretty good at this game.
What did you do differently this offseason to put yourself in a better position coming into spring training?
Yeah, we had a good plan between our pitching people that run our obviously pitching between Desi and Matt. We started a little earlier throwing, got down here early as well. Just build up the volume earlier and be ready sooner.
I spoke to Matt Blake earlier today, and he talked a lot about the delivery and repeating the delivery, something you struggled with last year. How did you feel in that regard today?
Yeah, we've been working on that a lot as a group. Trying to get my move down the mound consistent like 2022, similar to that. And there's been a lot of work that's gone into that. And today, it felt pretty good. I think there's room for improvement, obviously, but on to the next one.
Last year, you suffered some injuries early, didn't really get into the swing of things. How much do you feel like you have something to prove this season?
It was definitely a rough year last year. It was not my best. I have a lot to prove to myself, and I feel like to my teammates, that I could be a better pitcher than I was last year.
We saw one of your newest teammates today in Juan Soto in pinstripes, hit a home run. Overall, what have you thought of him in this short period so far as camp started?
Yeah, I think his first at bat was a walk, and then he comes up and does damage. It's a big homer, and not surprised. I've seen Juan Soto play. I played against him, pitched against him. Very impressive hitter, very impressive person. Just all around good guy in the clubhouse, and a very good baseball player.
Happy you don't have to face him anymore?
Yeah, glad he's on my team, that's for sure.
Carlos, thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Send it back to you, Michael.
Thank you, Meredith, and thank you to Carlos. And, on my radio show, I've said this a lot. When you list the variables that could go right or wrong for the Yankees, I really think that Rodon returning to form is one of the biggest things that could happen. If he's Carlos Rodon from the Giants or that last year with the White Sox, there's your number 2 starter behind Cole. There it is right there. It makes the rotation, everything else flow after it.
2021 and 2022 is not that long ago, Michael, so I wholeheartedly agree with you. Now, Rodon has to put in the work in, which he has already started to do, to get himself back to that level. You heard him tell Meredith some of the things he did in the offseason, starting a little bit earlier, wanting to come down the mound a little more smoothly, a little more consistently, so that delivery is repeatable. We heard Matt Blake tell Meredith earlier about hiding the baseball a little more. All of these things are part of him trying to get back to that level that you just talked about. And we mentioned his numbers at the outset of our broadcast. In 2021 and 2022, 27-13 with a 2.67 ERA, led the majors in strikeouts per 9 with over 12, led the majors in slugging percentage against, just a shade over 300. This is a dominant and elite pitcher who the Yankees signed to a free agent contract, and now they are hoping that with the work he put in and that the organization has helped guide him towards, he can become closer to that pitcher this year.
2-1 count on De Los Santos. Count 3-1. Two-way here in the 8th inning. Yankees up by 4. Yankees 22 runs yesterday, 10 runs today. 3-2.
How about Garrett Cole giving Rodon some advice?
Unbelievable. He really is like another coach.
Spring
He's
training.
so into everything.
You and I both know this. Garrett Cole doesn't have to be there.
Right.
He did his work already. He did his live session. Meredith talked about that. But he's a good teammate. You're right. He's another pitching coach in the dugout. And he noticed that in that second inning, Rodon wasn't making total use of the pitch clock and was speeding himself up. And that's the inning where he did have some trouble. 2 walks and a hit batter that loaded the bases. He was spraying his pitches more than he was locating them. And there's Professor Cole coming to the rescue with a little lesson for Rodon.
3-2. Swing and a miss, and that'll do it. As Abeda works a 1-2-3 inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees are up by 4. Well, a veritable Chamber of Commerce day here in Tampa, Florida. And Dunham grounds one to first. Flip over to Jimmy Robbins. 1 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. You know, Jackie mentioned in the top of the inning how Cole didn't have to be there. I mean, guys get their work in the spring training. If they're not playing, they usually bolt. Well, let's just take it to the regular season. During the Yankee championship years in the 90s, late 90s, there's some big-time pitchers that would just be in the clubhouse during the game. I mean, a lot of pitchers do that, so it's not like unusual. But you watch Garrett Cole, who is now the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner. He's locked into every single pitch on the top step of the dugout. Every single pitch, constantly talking to Matt Blake and Aaron Boone, to the point that sometimes he probably annoys them. But it's not that way with great pitchers all the time. Again, they disappear into the clubhouse if they're not pitching.
Cole is a baseball junkie. He's a pitching junkie, and he clearly wants to help his teammates in any way he can. I would call him David Cone 2.0, because Coney has told me numerous times that you're probably going to get 32 starts if you stay healthy for the whole year. He said that left 130 games where I felt as if I wasn't doing anything. So if I could pick up on a tendency, and Cone tried to help pitchers and hitters. He might go up to Tino Martinez and say, do you realize they haven't thrown you one inside pitch yet? Everything is away. Everything is away. Cole is cut from the same cloth.
What a great year for Cole, obviously, last year to win the Cy Young, and well-deserved, well-earned. And who's to say he couldn't do it again?
I think he would be the odds-on favorite right now to do it again. He had that dominant of a season, and he's a throwback. Tyler Kepner interviewed Jim Palmer a few months back talking about Garrett Cole. Tyler Kepner, formerly New York Times, now The Athletic. And Jim Palmer said he could have been one of us, meaning Cole could have pitched in the 70s. He's a guy who's going to go out there and give you the innings and be that kind of durable pitcher.
Hey, tomorrow night on Yes, Mikal Bridges and the Brooklyn Nets are in Memphis for a matchup with the Grizzlies. Coverage begins at 7:30 with tip-off shortly after 8 on Yes and the Yes app. And if you get Yes on TV, then you get the Yes app for free. Spencer Jones takes a breaking ball low. Jones is yet to make out in the spring, 5 for 5. Slow roller up the first base line that was mishandled by the pitcher in the 6th. Jack Curry thought it was an error, but the official scorer said no. 5 for 5.
Give the kid a hit. 5 for 5 is great. It's pristine. 100 games at Hudson Valley for Jones last year, 17 games at Somerset. Yankees haven't made anything official yet, but you probably would see him start his season at Somerset again. The Yankees,
which is Double-A.
Double-A. Yankees like the players to conquer each level. So if you're in the tri-state area, you want to go see Spencer Jones play, he's right there in Somerset, New Jersey, and you'll see a a kid who was on his way to the major leagues.
He's from California, and his friends were excited. They thought that he'd be part of the deal for Juan Soto. But the Yankees, I don't think they make that deal if they have to include Spencer Jones. And you mentioned this earlier. Brian Cashman gets asked for Spencer Jones in every single deal he talks about, and the Yankees are loath to include him.
Yeah, there were some reports when the Soto talks were percolating. There were even some reports, if you go back early on, where people were tossing out the names Jason Dominguez and Anthony Volpe, and the Yankees were not including them. They weren't including Spencer Jones.
And Jones works a walk, so his perfect spring continues.
They did end up including Drew Thorpe, who they were very high on, minor league pitcher. Michael King, who I think after Garrett Cole might have had the best stuff on the Yankee staff. His stuff is that good. Vasquez, Brito, and Higashioka. So a haul of players, but again, when it's Juan Soto on the other end of that, you make that deal.
You know, it's interesting, too, that the Yankees don't get the credit for developing King by putting him into the rotation toward the end of last year. And Michael excelling the way he did, that made him a viable piece in that trade. If he's just a reliever, and I don't say that in a pejorative way, I'm not sure the trade gets done as Lombard goes the other way and hits an opposite field bomb. So the Yankees' first-round draft pick goes yard, a 2-run shot, and the Yankees lead 12-6.
Opposite field pop from George Lombard Jr. and the respect for the kids even wearing number 18 during spring training. A lot of times you'd see a number in the 80s or the 90s, but a little wry smile there, and Spencer Jones is pretty pumped up for him as well.
Here's Durbin. Grounds one foul. Papo.
Easy power there, Michael, and going the other way at Steinbrenner Field. We've mentioned before his dad is the bench coach of the Detroit Tigers. Was also a major league player. In his dad's career, he hit 8 home runs in 144 games. Lombard was at rookie ball and single A last year, so trying to climb his way to the major leagues. He'll take that moment with him wherever he ends up this season.
And down goes Durbin, and that'll do it. But 18-year-old George Lombard Jr., born in 2005. Oh, my goodness, I'm so old. He's so young, and the Yankees have a 12-6 lead. Fans, catch the latest episode of Yankees News and Views, hosted by my colleague and broadcast partner, Jack Curry. On this edition, Jack chats with Paul O'Neill about Juan Soto's approach at the plate and Cole's greatness across any era of baseball. Watch it now on the Yes app. Now, I know you want people to watch it, but you told me he told a great story about Michael Jordan.
He did. Since you brought it up, I do want people to listen and or watch, but I asked Paul when was the last time he was ever starstruck. And he said, I played golf with Michael Jordan once, and you realize that you're on the course, and every few minutes you're saying to yourself, I'm playing with Michael Jordan. But here's where the story gets funny, because I then said to Paul, did you win? And he goes, well, I hope Michael's not listening to this part of the story, but I ended up beating him. And I said, I hope he is listening, because I want Michael Jordan to react to our podcast. But he said he beat Jordan, and the competitiveness of Jordan at the end was apparent. Jordan was not happy that he lost to Paul. And I guess they had made a couple of friendly wagers, as you do in golf, and Paul had to give Jordan some money to give to his partner, whoever they were playing with. And Jordan just said to Paul, hey, you do it. Like, he didn't even want to, he wanted nothing to do with it.
That one is driven to right field. It's a base hit. Gonzalez cuts it off and holds Henry to a single. I'm surprised he only played that once, because the competitive nature of Michael Jordan, from everything I've heard, he'll demand you play again. Go right out and do another 18.
Let's hope he listens to the podcast. Let's hope that he wants to play Paul, and maybe I could even convince him to come on the podcast and talk about it.
Or you could do the podcast as they're playing. I don't know. So here's Phil Clark against Bustamante. And there's a strike. Yankees have doubled up the Blue Jays 12-6. So in 2 games so far this spring, the Yankees have put 34 runs on the board. I have not heard the result of the game in Clearwater, the split squad that Marcus Stroman started. Hopefully we will get that before we get off the air. But the Yankees split their squad. And Rodon started here. Newest addition, Marcus Stroman, started there. Yankees lost 4-0 against the Phillies, and they got 1 hit in that game. So that's their first loss of the spring. If they hold on here, they'll be 2-1. And if the Blue Jays don't come back, they'll be 0-2. And it's the age-old debate. What do spring training results mean? You've seen teams, Jack, have great spring trainings and have terrible seasons and bad starts. And then you've seen teams really struggle in spring training and run away with it in the regular season. So I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it.
I don't think there is. I think you want to feel good about your core players, because let's be honest, at the end of spring training games at this juncture in the season, the last 4 or 5 innings or so are being played by players who are going to be at the minor league level. You want to feel that the guys you're relying on the most have done what they need to get done to be ready for a season. I know that sounds a little bit like a cliche, a little bit coach speak, but I don't know if you go 18-10 versus 14-14, that's going to matter. It's going to matter when the season begins that you did all the work you needed to do to get yourself ready.
2-2 on Phil Clark. You know, I've always felt this way, Jack, over the years, that teams that are looking to take a step from bad to good, it's more important for them to win, because winning becomes habitual and it becomes something that gets ingrained in your mind. I think veteran teams, I don't think they need to win. It's better to win than to lose, but you're trying to set a standard if you're a young team. There's one, and Ben Rice could not come up with the scoop, allowing Clark to reach on the fielder's choice.
I agree with that premise from you, and when you talk about pitchers wanting to accomplish things throughout the spring, those are the numbers on Marcus Stroman as he makes his spring debut for the Yankees. Again, with a pitcher like Stroman, Michael, I would look at the bottom line of that graphic. He threw 52 pitches. He got his work in. Obviously gave up a few hits, but I think Marcus Stroman knows he's in the starting rotation, and it's about getting himself ready. From a results perspective, we both know 12-6 for the Yankees right now. A 12-6 win is less important than the fact that Rodon did what he did and Soto had the at-bats that he had. Those were the 2 biggest stories coming into this game. Soto making his spring debut. Not that you doubt that if he went 0 for 4 today, he's still going to have a great season for the Yankees, but just checking off a box. And Rodon's the biggest takeaway from this game, that he threw almost 50 pitches, that he was able to get 5 strikeouts. The swing and miss was lacking a little bit from him last year. He did work in a cutter. It happened to be the one that Kirk hit out of the ballpark, but fastball looked good, slider looked good, and when he did sort of have a wayward second inning, he gathered himself to get the final out.
Jack, check out the guy in the green shirt. He's catching the game along with Torrens. He's got a glove. He throws it back every time Torrens throws the bat.
Let's see.
Lime green shirt right over the umpire's head. Oh, he's got a glove. There you go. Oh, he tried to frame it, too.
He was a little early. Torrens hadn't even thrown the ball back yet. If you're going to replicate the catcher, you just made him famous, Michael.
Ball 4. So first and second, one man out.
You know what we kind of glossed over at the end of last inning, because the inning ended pretty quickly after Lombard Jr.'s home run? He's 18.
Unbelievable. 18.
He's 18 years old. He's got a spring training homer under his belt. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
He's 7 years older than my 11-year-old daughter.
I mean, how many high school seniors are playing baseball right now that are, I'm sure there are some that are older than 18. This kid's playing shortstop for the Yankees right now.
Now, I wonder the mindset of a guy like George Lombard Jr., because the guy who's playing shortstop for the Yankees is also very, very young, Anthony Volpe. But, okay, you could say, well, shortstop is blocked, but players move around. If you can hit and you've got skills, they're going to find a place for you to play.
He's 6'3", 190. You see the resume on him right there. Yankees number 8 prospect, according to Baseball America. I think you play and you let all of that solve itself, Michael, because you're right. If Lombard Jr. put his head on the pillow at night and said, wow, Anthony Volpe's 22 and he just won a Gold Glove, and they've built a lot around him. I wonder what that means for me. I think you drive yourself a little crazy.
Yep.
So I think he continues to do his job and gets himself to a level where he gets noticed even more than he's being noticed for doing this.
And the Yankees are out away. I think it was a much bigger deal, Jack, in the old days, where you did not become a free agent after 6 years in the minors, and if you were stuck behind Mickey Mantle as a center fielder in the Yankee system, you were stuck forever, and you probably never got your chance. But there are mechanisms to free people up, and also there are a lot of other teams than there used to be in the 50s.
Very true. You have a DH now, too, so guys will get at-bats there. Lombard's a shortstop now. Could, in the future, he become a third baseman? We'll see. Yankees have to make all those decisions. They like what he's done as a shortstop. It's a great discussion to have, and Lombard Jr. controls part of the narrative. His performance will dictate where the Yankees eventually see him landing.
You will hit your way into the big leagues. And if you combine the hitting with a good glove, you're definitely going to hit the big leagues some way, somehow. But the Yankees have just planted that flower. It hasn't really bloomed yet. At 18, they've got some time, and he's got some time.
Got a lot of time to figure out where he ends up and where his baseball story ends up.
Lombard did not hit a home run in his 13 games in the minors last year. Only had 2 extra base hits, both doubles, but the homer today. That one is chopped toward third. Groshans across the diamond. Got him. And that will do it as the Yankees win this one 12-6. Yankees led from the start. And one of the big blows in the game was by the Cadillac player of the game, Jack.
Yeah, it's Juan Soto. We talked about his spring debut, all the excitement, and he added to the excitement, taking that high fastball from Richards. It was out over the plate. It's easy power from Juan Soto to all fields, and he gave fans an example of that on day 1 of his Yankee spring debut.
12-12-1, beating 6-5-1. It took just over 3 hours. Rodon got the win, Francis the loss, Kirk a home run, and you saw Soto's home run. Also had a walk and another run scored. Well, this has been fun being back behind the mic again. This will do it from George M. Steinbrenner Field. Special thanks to producer Troy Benjamin, director Dan Barr, Mike Webb, Jared Bossack, and the executive producer of the Yes Network is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again tomorrow as the Yankees take on the Twins from George M. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Coverage begins at 1 p.m. on the Yes Network. I'll be with Jack and Meredith again. Again, the final score, Yankees 12, Blue Jays 6. For Jack Curry and Meredith Moragovitz, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya. Hope you've enjoyed the game, the first of 25 spring games, and obviously the entire regular season as well. Have a good one, everybody. So long.